From pretty much the present, this is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you a week of old-time radio detective podcasts from 2012. Because these podcasts are many years old, any offers or information included in the podcast may not be valid unless they're currently reflected on our Great Detectives of Old Time Radio website at greatdetectives.net. Here now is a week of old-time radio detective podcast. Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, email it to us, box13 at greatdetectives.net. Give us a call, 208-991-4783, and become one of our friends on Facebook, facebook.com/radio detectives. Today's episode is brought to you by the support of our listeners. Thank you so much for your support, and I especially want to thank James today for his contribution, and we'll be sending along access to our premium site, which we do with all donations of $7 or more. All right, well, now it's time to get into today's episode of Barrie Craig. This is our first 1955 episode from January 5th, 1955. Here now is Angel of Death.
William Gargan stars as Barrie Craig, confidential investigator.
It's okay to cut a competitor down a few notches, but never cut him 6 feet lower than the soles of his feet. That's no longer fair competition, folks. That's murder.
The National Broadcasting Company presents William Gargan in another transcribed drama of mystery and adventure with America's #1 detective, Barrie Craig, confidential investigator.
Barrie Craig speaking. One way of landing a client is to fish him out of the river, which is exactly how I commenced my confidential file in a character named Richie Stimson. I jumped with my shoes on. I found Stimson's hat before I found Stimson. Nobody rescues a hat, so I didn't. When Stimson finally bobbed into reach, he promptly stuck one thumb in my eye and the remaining one in my jugular vein. Another thing nobody wants to do is drown in a stranger's embrace. When his jaw came up flush with the surface, I landed on it. He lay quietly on his back now, spouting water from the mouth like Moby Dick, and I began floating him to shore. On shore, the closest shelter we could find was a junk dealer's basement store. I stuck Moby Dick right up against the stove so he could dry out. Stand there till the icicles melt, Buster. Then I got my shoes off. Oh, squish. I'd been really walking in canal boats. Rescue a guy from drowning, you expect his first speech to be thank you, but not this joker.
My car. Hey, what about my car?
Oh, I'm keeping it as a souvenir of the occasion.
Hey, it's a brand new job.
The fish will be pleased to know. Lean close a minute, Buster.
Lean?
That's close enough. I want to smell your breath.
I wasn't drunk going through that guardrail. Get that idea out of your head.
Just lousy driving, huh?
Yeah, it's coming back to me now.
What is?
That same feeling I've been getting lately. Dopey all of a sudden. And the blues, like I'm depressed. Up here, something starts fogging up.
In your head?
Yeah. Makes me want to shut my eyes, like I Been on a weekend toot, and now I gotta sleep.
And do you shut your eyes?
I don't know.
Buster,
What?
confidentially, who are you?
Richie Stimson?
Chauffeur.
Used to be.
And now?
A husband.
That's your occupation?
Yeah, that is.
Oh.
Who are you?
Barrie Craig. I'm a detective.
Well, you know.
And where can I bill you?
Bill me for what?
A suit of clothes. Look.
Oh, yes, torn. Hey, you sure it wasn't torn before?
Now, that's what I call gratitude.
472 1/2 Park Avenue. Send me the numbers and I'll write out a check.
Where? Park Avenue?
What's the surprise?
Well, your kisser has got 10th Avenue on it.
So I moved east 7 blocks.
So you married East 7 blocks. I mailed Stimson my bill for suit of clothes and a new pair of shoes. And surprise of surprises, I got a prompt reply in the return mail. Addressee's name on it, Stimson, with the Park Avenue address. Well, there was a check in it, but not exactly for $100 I had politely requested. The check had an extra zero on it, $1,000. Check signed, Natalie Stimson. I read the short note that came with it. Dear Mr. Craig, a small token of my gratitude for the wonderful thing you did for my husband. Signed, Mrs. Natalie Stimson. And there was a postscript. I would very much like to meet you at your convenience. $1,000 was the most elegant persuasion I knew. Information? I'd like the phone number of a golden angel. Her name? Oh. Mrs. Natalie Stimson, 472 1/2 Park Avenue. We met at a rendezvous at the lady's insistence, not mine. An out-of-the-way private for members only joint called the Club Socrates, where people dined lying down on couches like the old Roman nobility. The maitre of the hotel wore a toga, and the slant-eyed waitresses were all made up to resemble Cleopatra. Natalie tried to clear up my confusion.
It's a revival of old Roman dining habits, Barrie. It's the newest fad.
Imagine.
It restores eating to what it should be.
And what's that?
Why, life's most gratifying experience. A sheerly exotic...
Enough said.
So, kick your shoes off, lie back on the couch, and luxuriate. Really enjoy it, Barrie.
So tell me,
Tell you?
why we're wallowing here.
Oh, I want to talk to you about Richie.
Oh, your ex-chauffeur and present husband. It's his unaccountable depressions. You worry a little.
Richie's told you about them?
You sound surprised.
Why, I am for Richie to confide so quickly.
Well, I'm a guy people right away confide in. He says he gets, quote, dopey all of a sudden. Gets the blues. Becomes depressed. And then up here in the beans, something starts fogging up, unquote.
His reflexes go awry. He loses sense and coordination. I've seen it happen time and again.
Well, give me an example.
What? Well, in entering my dad's brokerage office some weeks ago, Richie burst through the door but continued going across the room. He didn't stop at Dad's desk.
And where did he continue on to?
Right through the window.
How far did he fall?
2 stories. The miracle was he landed on a terrace on the 26th story.
Otherwise, 28 floors to the sidewalk.
Otherwise, a horrible death. What do you make of it?
Well, I could go medical and call it an unconscious suicide wish, but I won't say it.
Then what do you say?
I say hand Richie over to a doctor.
But he's been to doctors.
Doctors in the plural?
6 doctors this year.
What did the last chap say?
That Richie's a normal neurotic.
Yet he's accident-prone.
Accident-prone. Those are exactly the words the other fellow, the lay analyst, used.
So keep him under glass. Don't let him roam around.
Now, is that practical advice?
Maybe not. Now, besides sympathy, what do you want of me?
I want you to be Richie's man friend.
Come again?
You see, I've got my own theory about Richie.
That being?
That he's a cat in a strange alley. He needs someone around he can feel at home with, someone who talks his language.
Same being a slob like me, huh?
I'll pay $1,000 a week.
For me to chum around with Richie?
Room with him, play gin rummy with him, go off to burlesque shows, all the things Richie used to enjoy doing.
And for how long am I Damon to his Pythias?
1 month. 1 month for $4,000.
Sold.
And you'll do it?
For $4,000, I'd swim underwater to Siam. And that's how I came to move over to Park Avenue. But not without protests from my newfound buddy.
Get your hat and scram out of here.
If I do that, I'm unemployed.
Hey, who's paying you? My father-in-law?
I haven't met him yet.
Natalie?
Natalie.
So, Natalie hires you to watch over me, huh?
Oh, you got that wife in a million.
Hey, what's Natalie paying you?
Oh, a mere 1,000 a week.
500.
What happened to my other 5?
I just cut in for it.
You did?
Yeah. I could use more dough. They're keeping me on short rations.
And if I get stubborn about my whole 1,000?
We're not best friends no more. You run out of here like a thief. You're unemployed. Bum. Okay?
Okay, partner.
I'll give you a horse. You run your 5 back to $1,000.
Decent of you.
Hey, what do we do today?
Anybody for the zoo?
Zoo, my eye. Hey, I know what.
So do I.
Oh, hey, you're not a mind reader.
Your mind reads easy. The Crescent Burlesque House over in Hoboken.
What do you know? You are a mind reader at that.
That was the chauffeur turned blue blood in one of his optimistic moods. I also got him in his pessimistic moods, and right on top of breakfast.
Hey, the fog's coming up. It's beating at my eyeballs.
You're depressed today.
I feel lousy. Boy, how lousy I feel.
Hating the world and yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Hey, will you look? I can't even tie my shoelaces.
Hand shaking?
Yeah, like that head mom over at the Crescent last night.
The reflexes all shot, huh?
Who knows about reflexes?
Now look, hold one arm out straight in front of you.
Huh? Okay. Now what?
Close your eyes.
So they're closed.
Now bring a finger back and touch the tip of your nose.
Touch the tip. Oh!
Trouble?
I jabbed my finger in my eye.
Couldn't find your own nose, huh?
Hey, what does that mean?
Your coordination's off.
Way off?
Way off.
Hey, what does it to me, huh?
Well, ask a doctor.
Oh, I've been to doctors. I've been tapped with little hammers, x-rayed. I've been laying on couches and talking myself hoarse.
Talking about what?
Oh, anything that came in my head. Psychiatry, this was. About kid days, my old lady. The time Lefty Louie came at me with a butcher knife. Over abroad, this was. And, about Miss Curran.
Miss Curran?
Yeah, my teacher in 4B. I used to dream about her a lot. I figured to marry her when I grew up.
So why didn't you?
Well, at the time I was in 4B, she was 72. No, what I got in for doctors, I tried them. Hey, what we do today, huh?
We'll stay indoors and play gin. Leave us not tempt your reflexes. Richie had been to doctors, but I hadn't. So I tried one, an old friend. He'd room with my aunt once while serving his internship. Dr. Dinglespieler. A nice little guy who kept his beard buttoned in his vest.
You say he has been to doctors?
6. He's run the gamut, from cardiography to psychoanalysis.
Well, it is very strange that there was no recommended therapy. The symptology seems to be clear.
Meaning?
The disorientation. The damage to the nervous system.
Talk to me in English, not Greek.
Either the man has a detectable nervous disorder or he is in a psychosis.
As simple as that. I mean, medically speaking. A good physician should see what bothers Richie Stimpson by eye. A head doctor could do it by ear.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely apple pie for a doctor to diagnose.
Now, look, apple pie is for the cook and the kitchen.
Okay, then say easy to diagnose.
There is perhaps one simple conclusion to come to. Speaking for the doctors, I mean.
And that is?
That your friend had none of these symptoms you have described at precisely those times when the doctors examined him.
Had none of the symptoms at the time of examination.
Yeah.
I'll need time to figure that one out, Doc. Now, tell me, which branch of medicine is more apt to be mistaken?
The nerve specialist can be sure.
Meaning the head doctor has a bigger margin of error.
Well, psychic sickness is a more experimental medicine. It is, shall we say, in a stage of development.
And Richie Stimson is in a stage of disintegration. Well, thanks for your time, Doc. If I said I wasn't twice as confused as when I came in, I'd be lying. Well, so long. I trotted myself over to 10th Avenue for a peek into Richie Stimson's background. A look into his case history, as the science books put it. I figured on a chat with his folks, if he had any, or his neighborhood priest. But I found a brother. The lettering on the window of the fish store read, Waldo Stimson, fresh fish. I found Waldo in a bloody apron, chopping away at a sea monster that looked like a barracuda. Now stop chopping and let's talk about your brother Richie.
About Richie, I got one word that ends a conversation.
And the word?
Snob.
He's been high-hatting you?
Parks that snazzy car of his in front of my fish store and sits behind the wheel smoking a cigar. The louse just sits out there, rubbing it in.
Rubbing what in?
The butts. How he's got 'em, and I ain't.
Oh. Answer a question or two for me, huh?
Shoot.
Was Richie physically fit?
Strong as a bull. You should have seen how he broke Dopey Delahanty's jaw. Bang, one sock.
Or was he subject to headaches and accidents?
I don't get you.
Did he ever fall over his own feet, or fall down the stairs, walk into a plate glass window?
Richie? Not on your life, Bub. Came to moving around, he was 200%. Champ basketball player and ice hockey. Why, the pros were hustling him to sign a contract.
Then generally well coordinated. Sharp eyesight and the rest of it?
Sharp eyesight? You saw the chick he grabbed off for himself.
Yeah, upper-class Nathalie. Well, tell me, how do you figure he swung that?
Well, they come to making out Richie was a conniver. There wasn't a day he didn't have a scheme going for himself.
Shady or strictly legit?
Both ways, depending. Any way Richie could better himself, why, that was it. Hey, look, you're taking up my time. I got fish to sell.
You got a 3-pound Siberian herring?
Siberian herring? What do you know? I'm fresh out of them.
That led me to the father-in-law, C. Lindsay Bernard, broker. I wanted to know how come the uppercase Bernard had sanctioned his daughter's marriage to the family chauffeur. I found Bernard, Sr., behind a mahogany desk the size of a tennis court. The cigar in his mouth almost reached out into the hall to the elevator.
Yes, your question, Craig, has definite point. But not with me.
Well, why not?
There's no snobbery in the veins of C. Lindsay Bernard. Not a drop of it, sir. We're a tribe of great commoners. Why, my father cleaned sewers, and his father sold pots and pans along the great American highway.
Then you approved of Richie Stimson?
Oh, heartily, sir. You might say I cheered him up that middle aisle to the marriage altar. I favored Richie over Byron Follansbee. Yes, sir, a red-blooded young man like Richie. Why, I abetted his cause with Natalie. I am against the rich inbreeding with the rich. Very bad for progeny. Transmits white blood cells. Offsprings are anemic.
Cut. My ears are bent. While we're on this high-level talk, a quotation comes to my head. Something we used to recite in school, Mr. Bernard, from Shakespeare.
Oh, always a pleasure to hear Shakespeare quoted. The quotations, huh?
Methinks you plead too hard.
Is that a sneer at my veracity?
It could be.
Why, you foul-mouthed, low-born peasant.
And a minute ago, you were the guy advertising himself as the great commoner. From Bernard Sr.'s office, I drove back to Park Avenue to resume with Richie Stimson. We had big plans for the evening. A repeat of the night before the night before. The Crescent Burlesque over in Hoboken. At 472 and a half Park Avenue, I found Richie already downstairs on the street. On the sidewalk a few feet away from the big front door canopy. Top hat on him and tails as if he couldn't wait to get going to Hoboken. Only thing, he was the last guy I'd want to be seen out with, not the condition he was in. Flat on his back with a seepage of blood dyeing his clothes red. A crowd of morbid gapers packed around him and an ambulance on its way to the scene. No, sir, no date. I couldn't see myself watching a girly show with a corpse. One byproduct of death you can be absolutely sure of is a widow's tears.
Richie. Oh,
And Natalie sure wept. Tears cascading down her until the little chiffon item she was wearing clung to her like a bathing suit after a dip in the ocean. The show of grief in a bereaved father-in-law comes harder. Either it's unmanly to cry or C. Lindsay Bernard was a Phi Beta Kappa in the art of self-control. The only thing that occurred to him to do was abuse me.
Richie died because of your negligence, Craig. Your default of duty. You weren't hired to gad about making ridiculous inquiries. You had explicit duties. You were paid to stay with Richie. Never let him out of your sight.
The guy is slated to walk off an outside terrace 18 stories up. Comes a time when he does it. There's only one chap really watching him 24 hours a day.
One chap?
The angel of death. The brother of the deceased can usually muster a tear or two.
Poor kid.
Death softened you toward your brother Richie, huh?
Yeah. I ain't got no hard feelings now. Who she set it like this here? Look at them drapes and that chandelier. Imagine walking out on it.
Walking off a terrace into space 18 stories over the sidewalk.
Yeah. What a way to go.
Your beautifully coordinated brother. The kid with sharp eyesight and trained reflexes.
Oh, about that, No, I didn't exactly feature the right dope on Richie that time we talked. I sort of left something out.
You did?
Yeah, something that came back to mind. You see, Richie was a big one for accidents. All the time falling down cellars or fire escapes. And your pains here in the head, always with a wet towel and the ice pack on his bean. You get me, huh?
Better than you think, Waldo. Tell me something.
What?
Who's paying you to lie to me, and how much are you getting?
Well, suppose I am in the way of a few bucks. No harm to nobody. Why should I pass it up?
Because your brother was set up to accidentally kill himself. Or be murdered.
Murdered? Now, how could that be?
Say a push off that terrace.
But you don't know that.
No, I don't. But pushed or fell. Either way, it's murder.
But he'd been dopey all the time, tripping over his own feet. You yourself told me that.
Yeah, dopey and so forth. And I've got an explanation for that.
What?
Drugs. Somebody's been feeding Richie drugs. In his drink and in his food. Drugs that work havoc on his reflexes for a time, then dissipate into the bloodstream. So that he seems okay during medical examinations.
Yeah, but who be feeding him drugs?
Who offered you a bribe to suddenly remember that Richie was accident-prone?
Two of them did. Natalie and her old man.
I only got a piece of the truth from Natalie.
I didn't marry Richie. He married me.
What was the blackmail threat that got you to say yes?
As my father's chauffeur, he...
Got something on your father? Some business irregularity your father could be liable to prosecution for? That it? Okay. Clam up pending advice of counsel. I'm content to let the whole story wait on the autopsy.
The autopsy?
The one I'm ordering to be done immediately. to determine the nature of the drug that got Richie drowsy and dopey enough to walk off that terrace into cold space. This one hasn't had time yet to really dissipate into the bloodstream, beautiful.
I will never hire you.
People are all the time hiring me as a cover for their cute operations. I can be hired, baby, but not bought. Hired, but not bought. I'm sure you understand the difference. You've been to college.
You have been listening to William Gargan in another exciting transcribed mystery drama from the adventures of Barrie Craig, confidential investigator. Tonight's story, Angel of Death, was written by John Robert. Next week, it's the strange story of the man who died by himself, about which Barrie Craig has this to say. We call next week's story The Man Who Died by Himself. Among other things and corpses, it deals with a fortune teller, a fortune, and a beautiful girl. And, of course, the man who died by himself, except he wasn't entirely alone. He had a killer for company. The National Broadcasting Company has just brought you an NBC Radio Network production with William Gargan starring as Barrie Craig, confidential investigator. Directed by Arthur Jacobson. Cast included Paul Duboff, Betty Lou Gerson, Jack Carroll, and Jack Moyles. This is John Lang speaking. Join Groucho Marx for You Bet Your Life tonight on the NBC Radio Network.
Welcome back. Well, today's show kind of reminded me of this month's Barrie Craig Extra, but for those of you with the app site or the premium site, we'll be saving that for next week. But this was, I think, a well-told story. I don't think the blackmail, angle was unpredictable. But still it was a good way kind of sorting out and getting to the truth, though not soon enough to save the victim's life. Though I think even if Barrie had discovered the truth while the guy was alive or had evidence of it, because I think no doubt he had some suspicions, I don't think the guy would have gone along with it. He had to suspect there was something going on with his nerves and everything failing, that someone was out to get him. And he was greedy, and I think he would probably just have kept on trying to exploit and milk the situation regardless of the risk. But that's probably more speculation than anything else on my part. Well, I do want to encourage you to pick up your copy of All I Needed to Know I Learned from Columbo. We take a look at 7 great detectives, a little bit of information on their history, both in publication as well as on the screen and radio, and then we take a look at some life lessons that can be gathered from their stories. We've got some very interesting ones. Information management from Sherlock Holmes, time management from Nero Wolfe, and much more. And you can pick up your copy if you have Kindle. It's available right there in the Kindle store for you. If you have a Sony reader, it's available in the Sony store. For all others, you can go to smashwords.com, and we're hoping to see this get put into all stores shortly in terms of for ebooks. Now it's time for the very last adventure we have with Poirot. This one is titled The Bride Wore Fright.
Time and the little gray cell. These will always catch the criminal.
Hercule Poirot, Detective Extraordinary. From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, Mutual now brings you, complete with bowler hat and magnificent mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Bride Wore Fright.
it's good to get home. 1,000 thunders, what does it cost with the lights? Well, there is always the lamp.
Oh, please, I'm not a thief. I'll go out quietly. I didn't take anything. I didn't really. Unless you count a cup of coffee. I was so hungry. I'll pay for that. Just let me get out of here, and please don't say anything about it.
Please, mademoiselle, give me a moment to think, and let me turn on the lamp and look at you.
Oh.
Oh, indeed, mademoiselle. Or should I say madame? Inasmuch as you are wearing a wedding gown?
No, it's not madame. That's why I'm here.
Mademoiselle, I am not a minister.
No, you don't understand. I didn't get married. I ran away. They chased me, so I hid in this apartment.
And how did you get in?
Well, I ran in here because I saw Peter coming around the corner. I ran into the elevator and told the boy to take me to the top floor. Then I went up on the roof. I knew Peter would come after me, and so I climbed down the fire escape, and your window was open.
That was most careless of me.
Oh, please, you're not going to have me arrested, are you? I'm not a thief, really, I'm not.
Mademoiselle, we will discuss that question in due time. Just now, there are many things I do not understand. First, you are in the costume of a bride. Where is the groom?
Oh, why, that's Peter.
You mean you were running away from your future husband?
Yes. But please, that's something I don't want to talk about. May I go now?
You may go most certainly, mademoiselle, but have you given thought to where you are going? In that dress, you will most certainly attract attention, and you cannot spend the remainder of the night breaking into strange apartments.
I know, but I'm trying to get to my aunt. She'll help me.
Then you are not returning to your home?
Oh, no, I can't. Oh, hide me, please.
No, mademoiselle, that is out of the question.
Well, I'll run into the kitchen.
That is useless, mademoiselle.
But don't you see someone's after me?
That, mademoiselle, is a possibility. But hiding will not help.
Oh, please don't answer.
I beg your pardon, but did you see anything of a girl in the wedding? Why, there you are, my dear Eleanor. Well, what in the world did you want to run off for? You can't mean to say that I've already begun to treat you badly, even before we're married.
I'm not going to marry you, Peter. It's no use.
Oh, come along, dear. You're upset.
I'm not leaving here.
But your father's worried about you, Eleanor.
You can tell Father to stop worrying. I've made up my mind, Peter.
Darling, think of the impression we must be making on a complete stranger.
Oh, he's no stranger. This is a very good friend of mine, Peter. That's why I came here. I want you to meet Mr.
Hercule Poirot is the name, Eleanor.
Poirot?
Yes, the famous detective. And it's surprising that he should suddenly have become such a great friend of yours.
Monsieur, you have the advantage of me. You evidently know my name.
I'm Peter Cheney. Major Peter Cheney, and this is my fiancée, Eleanor Carlin.
You mean I was your fiancée?
Eleanor, stop this nonsense and come along with me. We've bothered Mr. Poirot enough.
I assure you, Monsieur Cheney, it is no bother.
There, you hear what Mr. Poirot is saying? I'm not leaving.
You don't mean to say that you intend to spend the night with...
And why not?
Well, really, Eleanor, you can't expect your father or me to...
Monsieur Cheney, come, you flatter me. I am not the man for the lady. But Mademoiselle Carlin shall be chaperoned.
Mr. Poirot, for a man of your reputation, you don't seem to understand the situation. Miss Carlin is my fiancée.
Monsieur, it is you who does not understand me. This young lady evidently wishes not to be your fiancée. In addition, she seems to be frightened of you.
Ridiculous.
Frightened enough to run away from you on her wedding day and break into a strange apartment.
She's just upset.
Exactly, monsieur. And I think it is your presence that upsets her.
I see. Well, I suppose I should have known. This is too good an opportunity for any private detective to pass up. When you saw me and heard my name, you knew there'd be something in it for you.
Monsieur, I assure you, you are not very astute. Mademoiselle Carlin, would you be kind enough to telephone your aunt and ask her to stay with you?
I certainly will.
Now, if I give you a check for $5,000 as a retainer, will you then agree that Eleanor has been acting foolishly and let her come with me?
Really, monsieur, you are an intelligent man, but with one weakness. You are evidently under the impression that money can purchase anything.
Why not? The check is good, you know.
I have no doubt of it, monsieur. Keep it. I am not interested.
Mr. Poirot, I am warning you. You're making a big mistake.
Mr. Poirot, my aunt isn't in. She doesn't answer.
In that case, mademoiselle, we shall have to find another chaperone, eh?
I'm Peter Cheney, the big game hunter. Does that mean anything to you?
Only that you like to kill animals, monsieur.
I've spent most of the last years in South America. The war raised the devil with big game hunting in Africa.
I imagine the war must have interfered considerably with your pleasure. You have my condolences, monsieur. Excuse me.
Police headquarters. Stevens speaking.
Ah, Monsieur Stevens, I have a favor to ask of you.
Oh, sure, Poirot. Anything at all short of murder.
Well, this is most simple, mon ami. I wish you to spend the night with me in my apartment. I have a young lady here, and...
What? A girl?
Stevens, you will give yourself bad blood shouting so. I want you to act as chaperone.
Oh. All right, Poirot. Anything you say.
And now, monsieur, if you have nothing more to say, we shall bid you good night, eh?
Oh, yes. Oh, there's one thing. I have the finest collection of human heads in the world.
You refer, of course, to the shrunken heads of the South American Indians?
Yes, precisely. I found out how to do the job. It's fascinating. My collection is very fine. I was just thinking, your mustaches would add to that collection.
An amusing fancy, monsieur. When we have more time, I must show you my scrapbook of criminals I have sent to jail. I do not believe there is a big game hunter among them.
Well, at least I'm getting a good breakfast out of this, Poirot. What's the matter? You're not eating.
I am worried, mon ami.
Now, look, Poirot, you've done enough for Miss Carlin already. She's going over to her aunt's this morning, and that's all there is to it.
I only wish you were right, mon Dieu. Monsieur Cheney will not let go so easily.
Well, I still don't see what you can do about it. After all, it isn't a crime to want to marry a girl.
Good morning, Mr. Poirot.
Oh,
Inspector Stevens.
Good morning.
I want to thank you for being so kind to me. That smells good.
And it is good, mademoiselle. Come, sit down. And
Okay.
this time you can drink coffee and not worry about being taken for a seat, eh? Yes, monsieur?
Eleanor, I'm surprised at you. To think that my daughter would disgrace me by running away from her wedding and making a public exhibition of herself is shameful.
Good morning, Eleanor.
Oh, Peter, you too?
Well, young lady.
Father, I'm sorry. I know that what I did was pretty bad. I should have refused to go through the wedding in the first place.
But why? What possible objection can you have to Major Cheney?
Only that I'm not in love with him, Father. And I should think that would be enough reason for any father not to force his marriage into any marriage.
I'm sure you'll learn to love me, Eleanor.
Oh, nonsense. The girl doesn't know her own mind. She's much too young.
I'm old enough to be able to make up my own mind as to whom I want to marry. I'm over 21, and you can't make me marry anyone I don't want to.
Eleanor, I want you to come home and talk this over with me reasonably.
I'm sorry, Father. I know that Peter can ruin you financially, and probably will if I don't marry him, which ought to be reason enough why you shouldn't insist that I do.
Eleanor, I want you to come home with me now.
I'm sorry, Father. I'm going to live with Aunt Susan.
Let Eleanor do what she wants, Roger. I like a girl with a mind of her own. Don't worry. I'll change it.
Well, that's very decent of you, Peter. And as for you, gentlemen, you meddling, interfering French busybody.
Monsieur Gargan, that I will not tolerate. I'm not French. I'm Belgian.
And you! Since when do the members of the New York police force interfere between a father and a daughter?
Huh? Well, I
Mr. Carlin, Inspector Stevens spent the evening with me as my invited guest, which is a good deal more than I can say for either yourself or Monsieur Cheney. His presence here was in a friendly, not an official capacity.
Come along, Roger. I don't think we're wanted. Oh, by the way, Inspector, if anything should happen to Mr. Poirot, anything violent, I mean, I trust that you will then be present in your official capacity. Good day, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Pancho. Is Peter in?
I will see if the major is in.
You may as well tell him, Pancho, that I'm going to sit right here until he sees me.
I hear you, Donna. I'll be right with you.
Oh, darling, take your time. As long as I know you're here, I'm happy.
Donna, darling, I'd never keep you waiting. You know that.
Oh, Peter, I knew it wasn't true.
And if you think that was a mistake, here. All right, Pancho. Down, Murphy. Down, I say.
Oh, you brought Muerte with you.
Where I go, he goes. He's well named, Donna. Muerte. You know.
I know. Death.
Right. I told you not to come here.
Peter, I just had to. I couldn't believe that you were going to marry that girl.
I am. And now that you know it, you can go right back to South America.
Oh, Peter, why? Why? Why do you want to marry her?
I assume you asked me that because I never wanted to marry you. You're just like all stupid women. Donna, I'm through with you.
You shan't marry her, Peter, because I'm not through with you.
Donna, you don't know what you're saying.
No, yes, I do. You're not going to marry her, do you hear? Because if you do, I'll go to the police. I'll tell them about Juan. Remember Juan, Peter? He was tied to a tree and torn to pieces by a dog. That dog might have been Muerte.
Poor Muerte. He gets blamed for everything.
And what about that Englishman? What was his name? Gibson, that's it. He died of a broken neck. You're very good with a bull whip, Peter. An expert, aren't you?
You'd actually go to the police and tell them, Donna?
I will. I swear I will if you kick me out.
Donna, you really love me. Well, we'll have to be careful, but we can arrange something.
Anything, Peter. Anything you say.
I'll tell you what. Tonight I have something urgent to attend to. You meet me in Central Park late, about, say, 2:30, near the reservoir.
Why so late? Are you...
Because I won't be through until then.
Peter, if this is one of your tricks, I'll tell the police everything I know.
Oh, don't be foolish, Donna. If you'll just meet me, I assure you that won't be necessary. Easy now, Muerte. Easy. Wait, boy. Wait.
Peter! Oh, Peter, where are you?
There she is, Muerte. Get her. Get her, boy. Drive her towards me. Muerte. Quiet. Heel, boy. Heel. Good dog. That's a fine dog. Come on, boy. Now we can go home.
Well, that's the way we found her, Poirot. Lying in the bushes near the reservoir with her neck broken like that.
Ah, the pauvre petite. This is a most singular affair, Stephen. The manner in which the neck is broken gives one furiously to think, n'est-ce pas?
Somebody awfully powerful must have gotten hold of her.
Perhaps, but if that is true, mon ami, where are the marks of fingers?
Hey, all right, Poirot. She must have been hit with something.
Exactly, mon ami, but with what? Tell me, what was her name?
Donna Moreno. She just got in from South America yesterday.
Oh, good morning, Inspector. Good morning,
Morning.
Mr. Poirot.
Good morning.
Well, this is my first visit to a police headquarters. The policeman downstairs said I'd find you up here, Inspector.
What do you want?
Well, I read the papers this morning. I think I may know this girl who was so unfortunately killed last night.
And so you came down here to give your knowledge to the police?
That's right, monsieur.
That was most kind of you, Monsieur Cheney.
Oh, not at all. I knew that sooner or later the police would find out that Don and I had been very good friends, and so I thought I'd better trot right over here and tell everything I know.
Do you know anything about this killing?
Oh, nothing about the killing, of course, Inspector. Donna had a lot of friends in South America, and a few enemies, too.
Did you know that Mademoiselle Donna was coming to New York?
I hadn't the slightest idea of that. We said goodbye in Rio.
Did you see Mademoiselle Donna before last night?
As a matter of fact, I did. She called on me yesterday afternoon.
And you had a quarrel?
Oh, nothing could be further from the truth. She'd heard about my unfortunate experience at my wedding, and she came to sympathize with me.
It is terrible, n'est-ce pas, that such a fine, sympathetic young lady should have met death in such a horrible manner?
It's awful that she died at all, but tell me, how did poor Donna die?
Her neck was broken by some instrument, snapped like a matchstick.
Monsieur Cheney, do you know anything about the bullwhips used by some of the gauchos in South America?
Oh, I should say I do. Why, I'm an expert with a whip myself.
That is most interesting, monsieur.
I'll say it is. This girl died about 2:30 this morning. Just where were you last night, Major Cheney?
I thought you might ask me that, so I took the liberty of bringing my servant, Pancho, with me. Oh, Pancho.
See me, John.
Pancho, tell these gentlemen where I was last night.
Major Cheney had dinner at home and never left the house. I sat with him in the library until midnight.
I don't care about midnight. Where was he at 2:30?
Major Cheney was in bed, asleep.
You have no way of knowing that. You can tell me he went into his room, but you can't swear that he stayed there.
It is permitted to contradict the inspector.
So go right ahead, Pancho. Tell the truth.
I sleep in the same room with the Major. I am a very light sleeper. I would have noticed if the Major had left during the night. He did not.
You're willing to swear to that?
I do not make these statements which are not the truth.
Oh, well, gentlemen, I think that's all. Take care of yourself, Mr. Poirot. Evidently, there are some dangerous people loose in this town.
For the first time, Monsieur Cheney, I find myself in complete agreement with you.
Do you mind if I sit down, Eleanor?
Oh, Peter, I wish you'd leave me alone.
Aren't you tired of working, Eleanor? You don't have to, you know.
I like working. And inasmuch as I only have an hour for lunch, I'm sure you'll forgive me if I start
Oh,
eating.
of course. By the way, I wouldn't bother about hurrying back to the office if I were you.
I certainly don't intend to be late.
It doesn't really matter. You work for the Lee Construction Company, don't you?
Why, yes, I do, but...
I have an idea that they're not going to require your services after today.
So you managed to get them to fire me.
Yes, Eleanor. And I'm telling you that I'll do the same with every job you get or try to get. I like a woman who fights, but I like to show them I can fight, too.
Oh, Peter, I don't want to fight. I just want you to leave me alone.
You know this is going to be fun. When I was in South America, I think I enjoyed the thrill of tracking an animal more than the actual kill.
Peter, this isn't a game with me. I'm not going to marry you, and I'm not going to be tracked like any animal.
No? Well, what are you going to do? I'll see that you don't get a job, you have no money, and you're too proud to take any from your aunt. You see, Eleanor, I have the advantage of knowing your weakness.
I know what I'll do. I'll...
You'll marry me. Eventually.
Poirot, I've sat in your apartment many times when we were working on a case, but I've never known as much as I do now and yet felt as helpless.
Then you do know the murder of Mademoiselle Moreno, mon ami.
Sure, don't you?
Yes, it is a certainty.
And the devil of it is we can't do a thing. I don't dare arrest that Cheney guy. I haven't got a case. That phony alibi is perfect.
No alibi is perfect, mon brave. Monsieur Cheney is a murderer and he must be punished.
Yeah, but how? Poirot, I tell you, the DA wouldn't even take the case to court. What have we got to go on?
Well, the fact that Monsieur Cheney knows Mademoiselle Moreno, the fact that she visited him on the afternoon of her death, and the fact that Monsieur Cheney is an expert with a bullwhip, the weapon by which Mademoiselle Moreno was killed.
Yeah, but all that's the flimsiest kind of circumstantial evidence. Put all that against his alibi, and we're licked.
In this instance, mon cher Stevens, I agree with you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poirot. Hello, Inspector.
How do you do?
Seems I come running to your apartment every time I'm in trouble.
Yeah, Mademoiselle Carlin, it is a pleasure to have your company. Although the inspector and myself regret that you are in difficulty.
It's Peter again. He won't let me alone. But I don't suppose you're interested in hearing about my trouble.
But indeed we are very much interested.
Now, careful, Poirot. I don't want to get sued for libel. That's something this Cheney guy is perfectly capable of doing.
You mean Peter's in trouble with the police?
That is just the point, mademoiselle. Monsieur Cheney is not in trouble, but he should be.
Why? What has he done?
First, what has he been doing to annoy you?
Well, he's gotten me fired from my job and threatened to keep me from working. And he seems perfectly able to do it.
Mr. Stevens, this Cheney must be checked.
Yeah, but how?
What has he done?
He is a murderer, mademoiselle. Of that we are perfectly certain. But he is diabolically clever. He has found a simple way of committing murder so that we know he has done it, and yet we cannot prove it in a court of law.
Now, please don't tell anybody, Miss Carlin.
Oh, no.
I can't tell you how we're going to handle him, though. He has an unbreakable alibi.
Mon ami, he has, therefore we must break it. And I think I know how.
Well, are you going to let me in on this?
Most certainly, mon vieux. Mademoiselle, you say that Monsieur Cheney still wants you to marry him?
Yes, and it frightens me.
That I can understand, mademoiselle. But that makes me believe that we can start to begin to arrive in the vicinity of somewhere.
I beg your pardon? What did you say?
Carlin, that means he has an idea.
Exactly, mon cher Stephen. The little gray cells have found a way.
What are you going to do?
First, I am going to the Museum of Art, mon vieux. And if I find what I seek, then I go to pay a call on Monsieur Cheney. May I see Monsieur Cheney?
Oh, this way, senor.
Ah, Mr. Poirot, this is a surprise. I'm glad to see you.
Monsieur Cheney, you have been a great deal in my thoughts.
I'm sure I have, and you in mine. Would you care to see my collection of heads? It's even finer than the one in the Museum of Art.
But I should enjoy that immensely, monsieur.
Oh, they're right in this other room.
And while we are examining the collection, we shall talk, eh?
Of course, of course. What about? Murder?
You have said it, monsieur.
Now, here's a head I'm particularly proud of. It's the head of a man named Juan who died in a most peculiar circumstance. Some animal had chewed him almost to pieces, yet you can hardly see the trace of a scar.
Perhaps he was murdered, monsieur.
Well, now, what makes you say that? Down, Murphy. Stay back.
It seems that so many things about you, Monsieur Cheney, bring murder to my mind. Even your dog is named Death.
That's because he's dangerous, Mr. Poirot. I always think people should be warned. Don't you?
But of course. And did you warn poor Mademoiselle Donna, monsieur?
Well, now, why should you think I had anything to do with Donna's death? I do admire the way it was done, though, quickly and efficiently.
I understand you have been annoying Mademoiselle Collins.
I thought we were going to talk about murder. Oh, now, here's another fine example of the art of shrinking human heads.
Murder and marriage, monsieur. I just thought it fair to warn you that I will not allow Mademoiselle Collins to marry a murderer.
Good for you, good for you. I wouldn't want Eleanor to marry someone like that either.
Monsieur, I am saying that I know you are a murderer. I am also saying that I will not permit Mademoiselle Collins to marry you even if she wants.
And I'm telling you that it's none of your business.
And, Monsieur Cheney, I shall do everything in my power to help Mademoiselle Collins, financially and otherwise.
You will persist in sticking your neck out.
And you break necks that are in your way. Let's pass.
Sometimes. But listen, Mr. Poirot, I have too much respect for you to want to quarrel. I'd like to get together when I've had time to think this over, and maybe we can talk more reasonably.
Anytime you say, monsieur.
Well, frankly, I'm too upset now to be able to think clearly. Shall we say, tonight at 11?
Consider it said, monsieur. Shall we meet here?
No, I'd rather not.
Oh, come. Surely you are not going to ask me to meet you in the park.
Oh, no, of course not. I don't think you would anyway. Not without being followed by a good number of police.
And you would not like that, monsieur?
I think our meeting place should be Fright, don't you?
By all means, monsieur.
I have it. There's an old hot dog stand out on Long Island, been abandoned for quite a while, just a few miles east of Bayville on Route 19. It's in the middle of a vacant lot. Nothing around for miles. You can see anyone coming miles away. How about meeting me there?
Monsieur Cheney, you have an appointment.
But, Poirot, I don't like it.
I cannot say, mon ami, that I am pleased at the idea myself, but it must be done.
But you won't even let me have Collins trail you.
It is useless, monsieur. This must be done this way or not at all.
Okay. Tell me what you want me to do.
It is simple but vital. You must go to the house of Monsieur Cheney and tell his servant Pancho that Monsieur Cheney has been hurt, badly hurt.
Will he believe me?
It is essential that he must. If he needs convincing, tell him that he was hurt because of his appointment with me, that Pancho must come with you immediately, that Monsieur Cheney needs him.
But suppose he won't come.
He must, or you will be in the terrible situation of having to solve murders without the assistance of Hercule Poirot.
Easy, boy. Wait a minute.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Cheney. Is that you?
Down, Murphy. Down. Good evening, Mr. Poirot. I'm glad to see you came alone. Don't stay so far away. Come up a little closer.
I do not like the actions of your dog, monsieur.
No? Well, I don't think he likes you either. Get him, Murphy. Get him.
Come, Monsieur Cheney. That was stupid of you, eh? Did you think I would come unarmed to meet you?
I'm glad to see the pistol in your hand.
Hey, may I congratulate you, monsieur? You are most expert with that whip.
Thanks. Start running, Mr. Poirot. I always like to give the ones I hunt an even break.
In this case, monsieur, you are doomed to disappointment. I shall not run. If you think you can break my neck with that whip, I am unable to stop you. But I warn you, Monsieur Cheney, you will die for it.
And that takes care of you, Mr. Poirot.
Come in, Mr. Cheney, and sit down.
Oh, thank you, Inspector. I seem to be spending a good deal of time at police headquarters lately.
I'm warning you, Cheney. I'm holding you for the murder of Hercule Poirot. Anything you say may be used in evidence against you.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, my dear Inspector. Oh, what is this, a joke or something? If it is, it's in very bad taste.
Stop stalling, Cheney. I've got you dead to rights.
I begin to see. This is evidently a trap of some kind. Mr. Poirot pretends to be dead
Cheney,
while you...
I've arrested a lot of cold-blooded killers in my time. I tell you, I've never been as vindictive towards any of them as I feel towards you. You not only killed a great detective, but the best friend I ever had.
Before you go any further, Inspector, I'd like to warn you that I'm going to sue you for false arrest and libel, or else have you put in an insane asylum.
I suppose you're going to tell me you were home all night and your servant Pancho was prepared to swear to it.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to hear. Come in, Pancho.
Oh, Pancho. Will you please tell the inspector where I was this evening? Well? Pancho, what's the matter with you? Tell the inspector where I was.
Please to forgive, Pancho, Major. I cannot.
Have you lost your mind? Tell him, Pancho.
No, it's not Pancho's fault, Cheney. He can't tell me because I was with him every minute this evening from 10:30 on.
What?
Yes, that's it. Poirot knew you'd try to kill him the same way and create the same alibi. He took a chance and laid down his life in order to trap you.
Well, it's too bad I didn't foresee that. But at least I got Poirot.
I'm glad you see it that way. Here's a confession on the Moreno killing, too.
Yes, I did it. Just too bad, Pancho, that you weren't a little smarter. I'd have gotten away with the Poirot killing, too.
Pardon, Monsieur Jenny.
Poirot?
What? That is one murder you would never have gotten away with.
But, Poirot, I thought...
You thought I was dead, mon ami. I intended you should. In no other way could you have played your part so convincingly.
I never missed with that whip.
And you did not miss this time, Monsieur Jenny. However, you neglected to find out whether or not I was wearing a steel collar.
A steel collar?
A steel collar. The Museum of Art has one of the finest collections of 15th century armor in the world. I was fortunate in finding a collar that fit me. It was most uncomfortable, but most effective.
Poirot, I'm certainly glad that you're alive, but don't ever do that again.
What, mon ami? Make believe I am dead?
No. Hide in my office without my knowing it. It would make me look like an awful fool in front of the commissioner.
Be sure to listen next week when Agatha Christie, America's favorite mystery writer, brings you her favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Letter and the Mad Woman. Music for Hercule Poirot is composed and conducted by Sylvan Levin. The program is directed by Carl Eastman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Well, I don't know about you, but that was one of the creepier villains we've had, I think, on any of the detective series, actually. But they did a good job with the story. And though I don't know if I've ever heard of... I've never seen anything, I don't believe, where Poirot carried a gun. I'm not certain I've ever heard of him doing it anyway, but... it was a common sense precaution. Sometimes, he relies on the little gray cells, but sometimes the little gray cells tell you, danger ahead. So he had to take some precautions on that. So that is the last of the Poirot old-time radio shows we have. There were another 9 weeks of, episodes that aired over the Mutual Broadcasting System. But none of the titles were known, other than The Letter and the Mad Woman, because that was announced at the end of this week's show. And it's worth noting that in 1946, Poirot began to air on CBS as a daily 15-minute serial, with each case being told in 5 parts. Unfortunately, as is the case with most of these serials, the episodes, there's just not enough out there. There are 2 parts of one 5-part serial and 1 part of another. Again, none of it adding up to a complete story. So next week we're going to be moving on to Crime on the Waterfront. So join us for that then. We do have, one listener question. D. Cody asked, hey Adam, what radio show did Frank Sinatra play a detective in? The answer is Rocky Fortune. Now, old-time radio experts will be quick to note that he was not technically a detective. He was just a guy who worked a bunch of odd jobs, didn't hold onto them very long, And each job he was on, whether it was a steward on a boat or a messenger boy, somehow he would find himself in the middle of a mystery, because that was just Rocky Fortune's luck. Or Rocky Fortune's fortune, I guess. But we count him here, and we'll be doing that series eventually. So, all right, well, thanks for your question. That will do it for today. We will be back tomorrow with Let George Do It. Join us back here next Tuesday for Crime on the Waterfront. Well, today's episode is brought to you by the financial support of our listeners. Thank you so much for all your support, and I particularly want to thank William and also Carla for their support. Sent along donations, and we will have sent along access to our premium site, which we do for all donations of $7 or more. Well, now it's time for today's episode of Let George Do It, the Prairie Dog.
Personal notice, danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Standard Oil Company of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invite you to Let George Do It. The Prairie Dog, a transcribed adventure of George Valentine.
Come on, give me my change. I'm trying to get the 5.15. Thanks. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me, lady. Excuse me, that's mine. All right, so it's not the 5.15. Well, look who wants to read the newspaper. Who's following who, friend, you or me? Come on, loosen up. What are you... Hey, look out! Let go of my...
It's Jerry Mace.
Yeah, that's who it is, all right. Or was. One of my boys who went out to get the body said he thought he recognized him. Thought he was a friend of yours, Valentine. That's why I got you down here to my office so fast.
Wait a minute, Lieutenant Johnson. Didn't he have any identification?
Pockets were practically empty, Miss Brooks. Wallet, stuff in his side pocket, gun.
So he must have been slugged first, robbed, and then shoved in front of the train.
That's right, Miss Brooks. Otherwise, it might look like he'd just fallen or maybe even jumped off that station platform to kill himself.
Sure, he was a nice guy. But you don't have to beat around the barn to prove it was murder.
What do you mean?
He just got a new job a couple of months ago. Private investigator for the Independent Insurance Company.
For what?
Yeah, you heard me. Was anything at all left in his pockets?
Handkerchief, couple of theater stubs. Things are over there.
He used to carry a blue notebook, George, remember? That he'd write up his cases and...
Jefferson theft case.
Ah.
I remember now. Insurance bulletin. Independent Insurance Company. Yeah. Yeah, that's the insurance company in the case, all right.
What are you talking about?
Swedish match killing. $50,000 taken, and before that, the Prairie Bank job. All one man. Prairie Dog, the boys call him.
Clear it up, Lieutenant.
The one man I've wanted to get more than anyone else in the world. 6 unsolved crimes in the past 2 years. One of them a murder. Each time to the same guy. Dumb crimes. Clues all over the place. But we've never been able to catch him.
What's that got to do with the Independent?
He's sloppy. Leaves cigarettes on the floor when he cracks a safe. Uses a funny black kind of Swedish safety match. Wears a pair of greasy gloves. Oh, we know lots of things, but we can't catch up.
Lieutenant, I asked you what
His
it had...
last crime was another robbery murder. That insurance company your friend here worked for got hooked.
Oh, so that might have been the case Jerry was working on.
Prairie Pawn Shop.
What, George?
Hock your shirt, we'll loan you another. Yeah, it's a pawn ticket. Slipped down through a hole in his pocket, I guess, into the lining of his coat. No date on it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to find out for sure what Jerry Mace was working on. from the Independent Insurance Company.
It's after 6 o'clock, Lieutenant.
I know their office will be closed, but in a little while I ought to be able to find somebody.
What's the Prairie? What is it?
Didn't you ever hear it called that? Commercial Street, lower end, from front to third.
You mean it's a district right here in town?
Sure. In the daytime, it's industrial. Night's another matter. Shadows don't even trust the street lamps. Every man for himself, and the devil has to pay admission.
Yeah, nice place.
That's where this Prairie Dog killer of yours comes from?
Maybe, I don't know. That's why I want to check what Mace was doing.
Okay. Come on, Angel. We're looking too.
Where are you going, Valentine?
To hock my shirt and see what I get in exchange.
Closed, George. The shop's closed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't understand why you're so interested.
Angel, why would Jerry hock anything? He's always had all the dough he needs.
Oh, well...
Unless he was interested in the place. Or unless it was somebody else's ticket he picked up for some reason. Or unless this place had some connection with the mission.
$60 a month.
What in the...
You want it or don't you? Utilities paid until the 5th. 60 in advance, and I won't take a check. If you don't want it, loiter somewhere else. I'm nervous about the plate glass.
Want what, for heaven's sake?
I own the building. What do you think? I'm out walking for my constitution?
Hold it, brother. The hock shop here is for rent?
Yeah, tenant just closed up today. Name was Felix. Very substantial citizen. Always paid in advance. Can't you read the sign? Here.
Yeah, George. Out of business. Door to let.
Yeah, we didn't notice.
All right, now you do. Think you want it? Let me know. Choice location.
Yeah, sure.
Well, George, at least this is one lead you can cross off your... What's the matter? I read you the sign.
I'm reading between the cracks.
Huh?
Yeah, there's a light between the cracks. Premises aren't quite empty yet. Let's try one of the side street doors. Hello? Anybody here?
He said the man's name was Felix, didn't he, George?
Hello, is anybody...
What are you doing here?
So here, I guess. We're just...
Come on, stop blowing your nose.
He's talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Just wanted to see you, that's all, Felix.
Can't you read signs? Now go away, stranger. I'm busy. Try more the next block.
I don't want to hawk anything. Oh, here, like a smoke? Smoke is cheaper than eating, you know. Keeps the stomach quiet.
Beat it, I said. You want a handout, stick to soup kitchens. I've got an inventory
Ah,
to take.
please, Felix, listen. Hey, tell me, somebody says you loan money on things.
What do you think a hock shop does? Bake donuts?
Yeah, but I mean...
Stranger, for the love... Oh. What have you got?
Wristwatch.
Yeah, let me see it.
Yeah, my grandfather gave it to me. Wonderful man. Pretty valuable, don't you think?
George.
Yeah, Brooksy, watch this.
Your grandfather, huh? Only, of course, it's a lady's wristwatch.
I know. Guess he must have bought it for my grandmother, don't you think?
Piece of junk. But all right. Come out back here a second.
Oh.
Pieces of junk are worth something sometimes, though, don't you think? You see,
your name, Felix?
Yes, that's right. What is this, open house?
Well, we want to see you, that's all.
I know, everybody does. I'm out of business at the side door, too.
If you gentlemen wish to discuss something, I'm...
No. Give me that thing. And you stick around, tall boy. Sit down, sister. I'll only be a minute.
Really, I could come back on...
Give it to me, I
day.
said.
Yeah.
Get it here in the lights. Look at that. Rhinestones aren't even real. Your grandfather got taken... shut up. Hello, Prairie Pawn Shop. Oh, hello, Sergeant. Oh, the same to you. But look, Sergeant, I'm locking up my place, and I... Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me have the description. Brown hair. Skinny. Sure. Look, I've got other things to do than watch for a stolen wristwatch, huh? Wait a minute. You say the guy sniffles? Hey, you! Stop him! Stop him! Stop that guy! Officer Brackett! Let somebody else wear himself down. Well, you were a great help, tall boy.
Let him go.
All right, so who cares? Great neighborhood, huh? Classy type of people. Sister, what do you think of having a shop where guys like that come in? What's the matter?
Want to use his phone, that's all.
Well, if it's all the same to you,
That's all. Just looking, that's all.
What's the idea?
Well, the phone's dead, isn't it? Kind of a convenient call from his friend the sergeant, wouldn't you say, Brooksy? I wondered why you brought that guy back in here. Where's the button? Oh, yeah, here we are. Sure. Step on the button, it rings. Not bad, not bad. Bum walks in, obviously trying to peddle a stolen watch.
So you step on the bell and pretend to get a call from a police
And then the bum runs away, leaving you the watch. Nice clear profit. How to steal from a thief.
Great neighborhood. Classy type people.
All right. It's no skin off of your neck, is it?
No.
The Prairie. Gotta watch yourself in the clinchers in these parts, tourist.
George, what did Lieutenant Johnson mean about Swedish matches?
What?
Look. And it's black, too. It was a safety match.
Let me see that. Yeah. Now, sit down, Buster. You and I are going to have a little talk.
No, George. It was the other man, the sniffy one who dropped it. It was when he lit his cigarette coming in here. I remember.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Come on.
Headed up the alley, Valentine. I cut him off. Chased him 3 blocks since Felix gave his yell, but I lost him.
Hey, listen, there's another cop's whistle. They must have got him on the next street.
Oh, no, they haven't. He cut down this side, then ducked in someplace just a second ago before...
He's killing him!
Through here, back of the barber shop.
Yeah.
You like a shave, huh? Well, I'll give you a shave. Close to the skin from Tony, huh? I'll show you coming into my shop.
There he is. He's got him.
All right, Tony, you can get off his chest now.
A lady I have under the machine. He come running into my shop. She could pull her hair out by the root.
He was just trying to find a way through the alley, I guess.
So I catch him. Tony catch him. I chase him. First he tried to fight me.
Stop waving that razor
I
around.
could have sliced his ear.
All right, we said. Come on. On your feet, Sniffy.
Thanks. Yeah. Much obliged.
Oblige, he says.
Well, hey, look, mister. I still no watch. I didn't do nothing.
Oh, assault, battery, trespassing, scaring to death a woman under the machine.
Keep your shirt on, Tony. There's probably a reward for catching prairie dogs.
What? What are you talking about? I'm getting out of here.
Oh, no, you don't. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, Sniffy. We'll forget the watch. You're under arrest for what's called suspicion of murder.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Listen to the difference. Yes, now you can actually hear authentic scientific proof of the difference between new RPM motor oil and premium type motor oils as designated by the American Petroleum Institute. Auto engines are equipped with irradiated piston rings, and during operation, minute particles of radioactive metal wear off the rings. Geiger counters are thus able to detect the amount of wear actually taking place. Listen now as the Geiger counters click off the difference. First, the low wear rate of new RPM. Now, the much faster wear rate of the conventional oil. Now, new RPM again. You have just heard authentic scientific proof that new RPM motor oil cuts in half the wear rate of critical engine parts, doubles the life of the average auto engines between major overhauls due to lubrication. Proved in the laboratory and checked out in severe road service, new RPM motor oil is sold with a money-back guarantee of satisfaction. Ask for it at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations, where they say and mean, we take better care of your car. And now, back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. 6 unsolved crimes in the past 2 years, all done by a man they call the Prairie Dog. Why? Well, because of the district they've occurred in, but also because of the robber-killer's strange ability to remain uncaught. That is, until now. Because if your name is George Valentine, you've just delivered a suspect to Lieutenant Johnson. And the lieutenant is liking him more and more.
There, you see that? File we've drawn up on all the Prairie Dog cases.
Let's see.
That same kind of match has been found in every single one of them.
Why, I wonder?
Because the guy's dumb, Miss Brooks. Also because he smokes.
Big logic.
No, look there. Each one was a robbery that took some time. Makes sense?
Yeah. In one, a safe was blown. In another, a combination was worked out.
Well, is Sniffy a clever enough man to...
Guy gets nervous. He smokes while he works. Grinds his cigarettes out into the floor. Here. Like that. Always the same way.
Oh, the janitor will love you.
You can't buy those matches in stores. Try it sometime. Sniffy's cigarette was the same brand, too. Cheap, but not too popular.
I didn't see any greasy gloves on him.
That friend of yours, Jerry Mace, who got killed, was definitely working on finding the Prairie Dog. His office said he was working on a hot lead today, but they didn't know what it was.
You'll have to say more than that, Lieutenant.
Before you'll buy that it was probably the guy he was after who killed him? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sniffy can't offer a single explanation as to where he was at the time of any one of the Prairie Dog crimes. Also, we've already turned up a witness who says he saw Sniffy on that station platform this evening when Mace was killed.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
How good a witness?
That's why I didn't. For skeptics like Valentine, I'm waiting to get some more witnesses so I can...
Come on, let's get down and see Sniffy, huh?
All right. If you don't believe me, watch him hammer the nails in his own coffin.
Now, you understand I want to cooperate all I can, gentlemen. Just a simple misunderstanding. Oh, I don't blame you. Well, how do you say it's going to happen?
Why'd you steal that wristwatch you tried to sell to Felix Sniffy?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me, because I've been trying to explain to this other gentleman.
Can it? Valentine, we can't find any record of it being stolen.
Well, of course you can. See, my grandfather...
Can it, I said.
Yeah, well, I just want you to understand. Now, I have stolen things before. I've even been to jail for it. I certainly wouldn't do a thing like that again.
Ah, so you've got a record, too, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll find it out sooner or later. I might as well be honest, don't you think? Just like that business of the station platform, it's suddenly occurred to me that I was there this evening.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, it was just hard for me to remember. Oh, not that I was there when any murder took place, but, well, I find the inner urban's a very cheap place to sleep, and there are always plenty of newspapers to read, and so you see, I generally am at almost every station in town every day.
Speaking of coffin nails, Johnson.
Oh, would you like a cigarette? Excuse me. Of course.
Oh, thanks. New brand, huh? New matches, too.
I only want to be helpful, that's all.
Hold it. Where'd you get these? Didn't they take his stuff away from him, Johnson, when they dropped him in the fitted suit?
Oh, I suppose one of the guys...
Yeah, let's see.
Get away from me. Those are mine. You can't...
Sort of full pockets you wear, Buster.
Get out, Sniffy.
Candy bar, package of gum.
Well, none of that stuff is worth more than a few cents. Not any of it. The man's got to be comfortable, doesn't he?
Where'd you get it? Yeah, even a cigar.
A what? Hey, that's mine. That's one of my cigars.
A very good cigar, Lieutenant. I meant to thank you.
But how in the love of...
Our friend here is a pickpocket, Johnson. Simple as that. The big suspect.
Oh, for Pete's...
Of course, none of it's worth more than a few cents. You see, I've mended my ways. I wouldn't touch anything valuable.
Telephone for you, Lieutenant.
Yeah. Kill this guy for me, Valentine.
Is it wrong for a man to like his little comfort?
You took this stuff from the guards, huh? From anybody who's been near you, right?
Well, perhaps.
Just like the Swedish matches and special cigarettes you might have taken from anybody.
Well, it's an embarrassing thing.
But who? Come on, remember. Where'd you get those matches?
I wish I knew. He might have been anybody, I guess. Anybody I bumped against.
Oh, brother.
Well, Felix himself, I suppose. Come to think of it, a man like Felix is much more the criminal type.
Shut up.
What?
Go on. We're letting you out of here. You've given me enough bad ideas for one night. Felix isn't the Prairie Dog. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I was only...
Because Felix happens to be dead. Murdered. Yeah, it's Felix, all right. How about it, Sergeant?
Another Prairie Dog, sir. Fits all the patterns.
Been hit over the head.
Blown instrument, grease stains on the paperweight there, same as on the briefcases.
Motive robbery, huh?
Sure. A pirate like this guy, Felix, must have made a pretty penny in his
look
time.
out. Don't stand there, sir.
Huh?
A couple of marks on the floor, that's all.
Hey, where's this landlord? Did you find him?
Yeah. Come in here, will you?
Sure. Say, ain't this a tragedy, though? It shows you never can tell.
His name's Calgary, George. I've been talking to him in the other room.
But I didn't say much. How could I? Left Felix here before you people came. You people saw me.
Never mind the alibi, friend.
He says he was here helping Felix pack before, George.
Pack?
Yeah, going to Florida. Fly to Nassau. He made his pile.
What do you mean?
Gonna retire. That's why he closed out his shop. Cashed in all the stuff he owned. Had a briefcase full of securities and stuff, and a roll of green goods in his suitcase that would have choked a horse.
Who knew that Felix would be ripe for robbery right now?
Jerry Mace, for one, George. Maybe that's why he was interested in Felix's place today.
Yeah, I thought of that, but who else?
Well, I guess most everybody in the neighborhood, friend, must have had some idea what was going on. Felix was a pirate. Wouldn't take much to figure he was worth knocking over. But knowing his exact schedule, the fact he'd be late in the shop tonight, be leaving from here and so on, well, maybe not so many.
Uh-huh. Bit more than just you, I suppose.
Don't think I'd fall into that one, do you? I wasn't born yesterday, tourist.
Lieutenant, come here. Take a look. Tennis shoes.
Huh?
Marks from them, I mean. The killer was wearing them. On the floor, you see? Same as in the last Prairie Dog case. Same type shoe.
What are you trying to do, rub it in? Every time we learn more and more about less and less. Clues.
I just thought you'd want to know. The pattern is so...
Cigarettes, matches, greasy gloves. But did we get any fingerprints? No. I tell you, this Prairie Dog is one guy who
Take it easy, Lieutenant.
Valentine, he could be practically anybody in this entire city. He's killed 2 people today. And we haven't moved 1 inch closer toward catching him.
Yeah, I get the general idea. Only then I changed it.
Huh?
I decided I've heard enough. And if I'm right about what I've heard, then it's all over but the shouting.
Now, look, Mastermind.
Suppose you and Calgary here just sit tight, and I'll be back later. Come on, Angel. Let's go to work on a Prairie Dog while he's still out in the open.
I don't see him, George. I hope we made it in time.
Yeah, well, he had to change his clothes again.
If he's not here, I don't know where we'd ever find him.
Yeah, coming down the other steps.
Hello, Sniffy.
Evening, miss.
Well, welcome to the fresh air. No, wait, I need your help.
Oh, sure. Yeah, some things I'm pretty handy at.
Well, it's just helping my memory, that's all.
Wish I had one.
You know, I walked into this case because a friend of mine was killed by the Prairie Dog. He was getting too close, I guess. In fact, from the location of that railroad platform, he was probably on his way to see Felix. He'd nosed around there before, so I guess Jerry had practically figured what the next crime was going to be.
That so?
Or maybe he'd figured how simple all of these Prairie Dog cases really are. Figured the clues. Figured why the clues were always the same.
I don't get any of this, mister.
What I didn't figure until now was what it was I walked into myself this evening. When I walked into Felix's place. That's where the memory comes in.
Yes, we walked in by the side door, and we heard Felix moving around, and he spoke, and we thought he was speaking to us.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know. I was there. You see, I had this watch in my grandfather's.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm trying to remember what it sounded like when you and Felix walked into the back room. Remember?
I do. I remember.
Grandfather, huh? Only, of course, it's a lady's wristwatch.
Yeah, I know. I guess he must have bought it for my grandmother.
Yeah, piece of junk. But all right, come on out back here for a second.
Pieces of junk are worth something sometimes, though. Don't you think?
Yeah. 2 of you coming into the back room, but only 1 pair of footsteps. His.
I don't get it.
And I remember the same thing when he pretended to get that phone call and you ran. He didn't make any noise.
I don't get it.
I suppose you dragged that watch in just so he'd invite you to the back room, where people would be less likely to see when you robbed and killed him.
I don't get it.
Why don't you say something different? What we walked in on was murder. That's the real reason you ran.
Look, you're worse than that lieutenant. I didn't kill Felix. Remember? I was in jail.
You weren't in jail when Jerry Mace was killed.
Huh?
You don't understand why the same clues were always left by the Prairie Dog. Of course not. You're dumb like everybody else, so it never occurs to you those clues, the cigarettes ground out, the special matches, the greasy glove marks, the tennis shoes, were only to make people think in terms of one man. But suppose the Prairie Dog is two men working together.
And how to fool people. Not bad. Each would have an alibi one time or another. All sorts of neat ramifications.
Huh. That's a pretty word. And you're trying to make something against me just because you think I was wearing tennis shoes. Well, you don't make sense. Look. That's leather. Best pair in the city don't. And don't the rest of your memory work? Felix gave a yell. The cops started after me. I've been in jail ever since. This is the same pair I got dragged in with. No spares in my pocket, see?
That's why I'm so sure it's you. You've changed shoes.
When can I change my shoes? What?
You had to change them. Your murder of Felix was interrupted by us, and there you were with all the evidence ready for planting. Well, you could save yourself on the matches and cigarettes by that little pickpocket exhibition in jail. But if you'd been caught with the shoes on, they would have hung you.
So, I wished a pair of hard ones out of the air, mister. When could I have?
So simple it hurts, Buster. Because there's only one person who could be your partner. Only one person you could have given the evidence to, so he could go ahead and kill Felix and get you off the hook as well as collect the loot. Only one person you could have run to when you knew the cops had you surrounded and would nab you any second. The guy who caught you. That barber, Tony.
Yeah? Is that so?
It's the only way it could work, Buster. Just like the only way Jerry Mace could have had his pockets emptied before he was shoved in front of that train. He couldn't have been slugged in public and then rolled and then pushed, could he?
George, that's right.
Yeah, Angel, we missed that before. His outside pockets were empty. In the crowd, the only way that could have happened was if a pickpocket did it before Jerry even knew he was there. So you hung yourself on that one, Buster, showing off your ability. Now, come on. We're going to go see the barber about a two-headed haircut.
Look out, Georgie!
Thanks for giving me an excuse, Buster.
And it was the barber. George, no one would ever have guessed if he'd been given time to get rid of the things he stole from Felix.
Yeah, a couple of pretty sharp boys, Angel. Like Sniffy's act of being a bum. Just a nuisance trying to resist the urge to pick pockets.
And the barber pretended to catch him.
Last two guys anybody'd possibly suspect.
Except you.
Only way it could work. Well, that's the end of the Prairie Dog. Both of them.
I thought the prairie might be a real place.
Hmm?
I mean, when Lieutenant Johnson first told us about it.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought for once we might be lucky. Because there's some nice places out in the desert. Real fancy places where there's sun and moonlight and things.
Mm-hmm. You like those places?
Well, it's a little nicer setting. I mean, oh, well, anyway.
Yeah, I know, Angel. You and I might get out there sometime. But who knows what might happen? A bomb might go off.
With warm weather coming on, it's wise to get your car all ready for spring driving. Motoring that's not only safe, but economical. There's one check you can make right now which may save you a good-sized repair bill later on. That's to drive into any independent Chevron gas station or standard station and have them check your front wheel bearings. These vital bearings should be repacked with fresh protective lubricant regularly. Badly adjusted or damaged bearings can cause excessive tire wear, pound out bushings and kingpins, make steering hard and dangerous, a real hazard to safe driving. So for your own economy and safety, take a look at your mileage since you last had your bearings checked. And if they're due for a repack, let the Car Savers lubricate them with RPM wheel bearing grease. Ask for this Car Saver service at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations, where they say and mean, we take better care of your car. Tonight's transcribed adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard Oil Company of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and Standard stations throughout the West. Robert Bailey is starred as George with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. Let George Do It is written by David Victor and Jackson Gillis and directed by Don Clark. Ken Christie was heard as Lieutenant Johnson, Bob Jellison as Snoopy, Bill Conrad as Felix, Joe Forte as Caligari, Frank Gerstle as Mace, and Don Diamond as Tony. This music was composed and presented by Eddie Dunstetter, your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. Let George Do It is heard overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service.
This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Well, it's another one of those twisting, turning, no, he didn't do it. Yes, he did, murder cases. But it's successfully resolved following that old Sherlock Holmes rule that once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, is the truth. All right, well, we do have one quick listener comment. Joel said that episode 658, Let George Do It. If see me once, you've seen me twice. Said excellent episode. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Joel, and I'm glad folks are enjoying Let George Do It and the rest of our series. Well, that will actually bring today's show to a close. We'll be back tomorrow with Sherlock Holmes, and then join us back here next week for another episode of Let George Do It. And of course, next Tuesday, it's Crime on the Waterfront. Well, today's episode of Sherlock Holmes is brought to you by the support of our listeners, and I want to thank Susan for her support, and we've sent along access to the premium site, as we do with all donations of $7 or more. All right, well, now it is time for today's episode of Sherlock Holmes. This one is called The Complicated Poisoning at Eel Pie Island.
From New York City, the makers of Clippercraft Clothes for Men and 1,036 leading retail stores from coast to coast present the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. This week's adventure, the case of the complicated poisoning at Eel Pie Island. Well, here it is, time for our weekly visit to Dr. Watson, but hello, his study's empty. Say, don't tell us the good doctor has forgotten his appointment.
Certainly not. I'm out here on the terrace.
Oh, yes, now we see him on the other side of the French door, stretched out in that deck chair.
Come on out.
Thank you.
There's another for you, Mr. Harris. Make yourself comfortable, and I'll divide a very superior sunset with you.
Fair enough, Doctor. Hello, what's this you've got on? Joseph's coat of many colors certainly couldn't rival that one, Doctor. Don't tell me that's one of Clippercraft's new sport jackets.
Well, no. This is what we called a blazer in my younger days.
Oh, yes.
The sort of outfit Holmes and I used to wear punting on the Thames. As a matter of fact, my wife was going through an old trunk and ran across it the other day. Puts me in mind of the adventure of the poisoning at Eel Pie Island. A case at once violent and diabolically complicated. Yes, having decided to tell that story this afternoon, I appropriately donned the old blazer for the occasion, don't you know?
Well, what does Mrs. Watson think of it?
Oh, she's threatened to leave me if I step off the premises in it.
I see what she means, Doctor. It is a bit, shall we say, spectacular?
Oh, that's the trouble with the rising generation, Mr. Harris. No individuality. No dash, no style. How do you expect to impress the young ladies of your acquaintance on summer picnics or beach parties and boating expeditions.
Well, by wearing Clippercraft sport coats, of course, Dr. Watson.
Yes, I seem to have led with my chin that time.
Oh, not at all. Just you take Mrs. Watson along when you go down to look at the new Clippercraft tropical suits and sport jackets. She'll be pleased to take you anywhere in any of them, I'll bet you. And she'll be doubly pleased because they won't knock holes in the family budget either. The man who insists on Clippercraft clothes says goodbye to high prices insofar as his clothing budget is concerned, for Clippercraft clothes have never been anything but high in quality and low in price. And that goes for today, too, despite rising costs of materials and manufacturing. But great values like Clippercraft's would not be possible without the famous Clippercraft plan. The plan's the reason you can buy high-quality Clippercraft suits for only $40 to $47.50. Find tropicals for summer wear for only $33.75 to $40, and smart sport jackets for only $26.50. Yes, the great Clippercraft plan that concentrates the buying power of 1,036 of the nation's finest stores from coast to coast provides steady year-round operation, reduces manufacturing and distribution costs, and delivers the savings to you. Now, for your own sake, we urge that you compare Clippercraft with clothes selling for many dollars more. See your Clippercraft dealer tomorrow. But now, back to the fatal poisoning on Eel Pie Island. The title sounds indigestible to begin with, Dr. Watson. Eel Pie Island. Look, is there really such a place?
Oh, the ignorance of the man. If you'd ever been boating on the Thames, you'd know it well. Yes, Eel Pie Island lies in the prettiest stretch of the river between Richmond and Hampton Court. Furthermore, it has a very popular inn which is famous for its ale and its eel pie.
Oh, naturally.
A cold, refreshing mug of ale after a pull up the river in the hot sun and a delicious slice of cold eel pie.
I could certainly go over the first item, Dr. Watson, but I'm not quite so sure about the second.
You know, Mr. Harris, that's exactly what Holmes said some 20 or so years ago. It was Sunday afternoon, and Mary was expecting some relatives for tea. Noticing my agonized expression, she handed me this blazer and suggested Holmes and I go for our annual June boating expedition up the Thames. Consequently, 4 o'clock found us in a 4-oared skiff, briskly skimming past Ham House, the Jacobean seat of the Earl of Dysart, back in 1610, of course.
Oh, obviously.
Yes, we were skimming. Holmes was as fresh as a daisy after a mile's pull up from Richmond. I'm afraid I had begun to melt.
Stroke. Get your back into it, Watson. Stroke. Stroke. Watson, that's the third time you've missed count. Stroke.
Sorry, Holmes. My stomach keeps getting in the way.
Huh. That's what comes of being a married man. Meals at regular hours. Nothing to jolt you out of your rut.
Oh, I was jolted out of it 4 years when I rejoined during the late war. I enjoy my rut, thank you. I don't wish to be jolted out of it again.
You mean you don't ever miss the old Baker Street days? The excitement, the suspense, the danger?
I enjoy it all in retrospect. I say, Holmes, that's Eel Pie Island up ahead. What do you say we pull under those willows for a bit of a breather, eh?
I don't need a breather.
I wonder if the ale at the inn is as cool as I remember it. Brown, tangy, I can just feel it trickling down my throat. And the eel pie, crust all flaky and tender.
I have no interest whatever in eel, Watson. Nasty, slimy fish. Besides, we're in duty bound to demolish the contents of the hamper Mrs. Watson prepared for us with such loving care. From the contents, I suspect she hoped we'd be gone a week. No, Watson, no eel pie. Stroke.
Holmes, you unfeeling.
However, I do think I could be interested in a mug of ale.
Yes?
Yes, Watson, they're right. Stroke.
Thank God you have some human weaknesses.
Ah, there we are, all tied up in shipshape. Watson, you unpack the hamper while I go for the ale.
Oh, no, don't bother. I'll go. I want to stretch my legs.
No, Watson, I'll go. I thought of it first.
Oh, so you can have an extra mug while you're waiting. No, you don't. We'll both go for the ale.
Come along, then. Oh, careful. You nearly landed in the river.
Oh, it's these white trousers. They must have shrunk since last summer. Can't go bounding about like a mountain chamois the way you do.
That's a perfect day. What is more charming than the Thames on a Sunday in June? The little boats filled with the flower of the countryside, the dainty parasols, the airy dresses, the lacy petticoats so coquettishly displayed.
I thought you were supposed to be a woman hater.
I was admiring the scene quite impersonally, Watson, from the artist's viewpoint.
Yes.
I have artistic blood in my veins, you know, on my mother's side.
Oh, balderdash.
Help! Help! I've been poisoned.
Holmes, did you hear that?
Yes, it's a fat woman in the purple bombazine of the next punt. She's managed to terrify completely the little wispy man who's her escort.
Walter, you fool! Get a doctor. You want me to die?
I'm a doctor, madam. May I be of assistance?
Oh, yes, please. Please help us. My sister thinks she's been poisoned.
I know I've been poisoned. It's in my tea.
I just made us a nice pot of tea. It was quite all right, Minnie. I drank some too, you know.
My cup wasn't all right. It tasted bitter.
Then why did you drink it?
I didn't. Just a mouthful. Oh, my stomach. The pain in my stomach. My neck felt stiff all day. The pain in my stomach. Here, the diaphragm, it's contracting.
I shall want hot water.
The tea kettle is still half full. I can light the spirit lamp.
We haven't time. Salt. Have you some salt or mustard?
We have both. Minnie always brings everything.
Good. We shall have to give her a good emetic. Clean out her stomach.
An emetic? No, I won't take it. I won't.
Minnie, don't. Oh, good Lord. She's having convulsions.
Yes, marked opisthotonos.
That grin. That horrible grin.
The rhesus sardonicus, Watson. Chronic spasm. I'm afraid we're too late.
Oh.
Oh, dear. I do wish the police or the coroner would get here. It seems so awful to leave poor Minnie stretched out in the boat. Oh, with that dreadful grin on her poor dead face. If only she hadn't suffered so before she died.
She was very fortunate, Mr.
Weatherby. Walter Weatherby. Minnie was my sister.
Miss Weatherby was very fortunate, Mr. Weatherby. She died remarkably fast, all things considered. If she'd been a younger, stronger woman, death might have been delayed for hours, even days. I take it she had high blood pressure and a weak heart.
Yes, sir. And diabetes, too. We all have it in our family. That is, all but Robert.
Oh?
Thank heaven she went quickly. I can't bear to see anyone suffer. I can't even bear to kill a fly. The only reason I keep that vermin killer in the potting shed is because the nasty things have been destroying my tulip bulbs, don't you know?
Oh, so that's where the strychnine came from.
What strychnine?
The strychnine that made your sister's cup of tea taste so bitter.
Of course, Holmes. That's what brought on those convulsions. Strychnine. They're quite typical.
Were they, Watson?
But of course. The gasping for breath, the protruding eyeballs, the rigidity and convulsions.
But there couldn't have been any strychnine in the tea. I drank 4 cups myself.
Tell me, Mr. Weatherby, did your sister have anything in her tea that you didn't share? Cream? A drop of rum? Bit of mint?
No. Nothing like that. We both took it weak with a lot of milk. Oh, Minnie did have strychnine, of course. That is saccharine, I should say. I prefer to go without sweetening myself. We aren't allowed sugar, you know, because of the diabetes.
Saccharine, of course. She carried the pills in a box, a reticule?
Oh, no, sir. She had a plain paper envelope. Here it is on the floor of the punt.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it, I say.
Oh, no, sir. Not if you say not.
Hand it to me, Watson, with your handkerchief.
Very well, Holmes.
Empty.
She used up all the pills, I guess. No wonder she had 6 cups of tea. Minnie did enjoy her afternoon tea. She did enjoy all her meals. Poor Minnie.
Holmes, how do you account for the fact that the 5 previous cups were drunk without complications?
Probably because only the 6th saccharine pill was poisonous and bitter. The shock of finding it poisoned, to a woman with her heart. That certainly helped to bring on the convulsions. It was undoubtedly pure accident that pill was saved to the last. You say your sister suffered from diabetes, Mr. Weatherby. She doesn't look it.
Oh, that's because my brother Robert took such good care of her, of all of us. He gives us injections of that new drug, insulin. They discovered it last year. It does wonders for people with diabetes, Mr. Holmes. My brother's been lecturing on it at all the medical schools all over England.
By Jove, of course, your brother must be the famous Dr. Robert Weatherby.
Obviously, Watson. Tell me, Mr. Weatherby, how long have you and your sister suffered from diabetes?
Oh, only about 4 months. My other sister, Nellie, had it too. She died 2 months ago. Oh, dear, poor Nellie. She was really my favorite,
Too far gone for the insulin to do much good, I suppose.
Oh, no, sir. We none of us had any symptoms of diabetes before last year. I did have my dizzy spells, of course, but we never thought it was anything like that. Oh, no. Thank heaven insulin was discovered in time for us. Not that it seems to have saved Minnie, or Nellie either.
But surely you must realize that your sister didn't die of a diabetic seizure, Mr. Weatherby.
Oh, no. Minnie went the same way as Nellie went, of poison. Only I didn't do it. You must believe me. I didn't do it.
I say, Holmes, here comes a boat. It's turning in here.
Yes. It's the police launch.
Oh, thank heaven for that. I thought they'd never get here.
Hello there! Is this where there's been a murder?
Well, if it isn't our old friend, the bellowing beagle of Scotland Yard, Inspector Lestrade himself. Welcome, Lestrade. Welcome aboard. We have quite a cargo for you to inspect.
Hold! How in thunder did you get here?
I am a bird of ill omen, Lestrade. I'm attracted to a crime like a vulture to carrion.
Oh, Holmes, really?
So you admit it is a crime, eh?
A murder, Lestrade. A beautifully staged little murder.
But look here. I didn't do it. I'm innocent. I wouldn't hurt a fly.
Oh, so it's Mr. Walter Weatherby again. And I suppose this is another sister you've done away with so you could inherit her share of the Weatherby bills?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't hurt Nellie either. I swear I didn't.
I know. You slipped through our fingers the last time. We had our suspicions right enough, but we couldn't prove anything. The jury thought you looked so meek and mild butter wouldn't melt in your mouth, so they brought in a verdict of suicide. And the poison was found in her cough medicine that time.
Which poison, Lestrade?
Strychnine, Holmes. What else gives people convulsions like the woman just had here, they tell me? This chap's got a pottage shed of vermin killer all full of strychnine.
But I've kept it locked up ever since Nellie killed herself. I carry the key with me.
Interesting.
We don't need any of your fancy deductions this time, Holmes. This time we caught him red-handed. There was no one in the boat but him and his sister. He gave her a cup of tea, and it killed her.
He gave her 6 cups of tea, Lestrade. Only the last one seems to have contained anything suspicious. There it is on top of the hamper, and still 3/4 full.
Really? I'm surprised you didn't empty it out.
I never tamper with clues, Lestrade. I merely point them out. It's up to you to draw your own conclusion.
Well, don't worry. I've done that already. This Weatherby chap's guilty, and he won't wiggle out of it this time.
By the way, Lestrade, what do you make of the wool scarf wrapped around the victim's neck? It's a hot day, but Minnie's wearing a purple scarf.
Next, I suppose you'll tell me she wasn't poisoned, she was strangled.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not strong enough. Minnie was suffering from a stiff neck. It came on this morning. Robert suggested that I take her out on the river to see if the sun would bake it out.
Nevertheless, the scarf is significant, Lestrade, and the violent contractions of the diaphragm. Don't forget those. I suggest you have your best surgeon perform the autopsy.
We won't need any autopsy if we find strychnine in that teacup, Holmes.
Oh, you'll find strychnine, Lestrade, never fear.
What makes you so sure?
I tasted it, you know. I tasted it.
Talk things over with any of the millions of men who wear Clippercraft clothes, and you'll soon find out why Clippercraft clothes have won more friends than any other label in America. Well-dressed men are loyal to Clippercraft because Clippercraft is loyal to them. Clippercraft is devoted to just one thing, giving you the best clothing value in America. Through the famous Clippercraft plan, you get the benefit of tremendous savings made by concentrating the buying power of 1,036 of the nation's finest stores from coast to coast. Locally owned, independent stores. Stores you can trust. It's the biggest idea that ever hit the clothing industry and eased your clothing budget. Where else can you get such remarkably fine quality in suits for only $40 and $47.50, in tropicals for only $33.75 to $40, and in sport jackets for $26.50? The answer is nowhere else, except in the fine stores everywhere that feature the Clippercraft label. That's why men who know insist on Clippercraft clothes. So be sure to visit the Clippercraft store in your city.
These leading stores in the metropolitan area are proud to add their names to Clippercraft in your suits, sport jackets, and tropicals. In Manhattan, John Wanamaker Men's Stores, Broadway at 8th and 67 Liberty Street. Saks 34th, Broadway at 34th. In Brooklyn, Abraham and Strauss. In Newark, New Jersey, Boulevard Men's Shop, Kresge Newark. And in Jamaica, the B&B Clothes Shop, 16408 Jamaica Avenue.
And now back to Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. We find them in the waiting room of the famous Dr. Robert Weatherby. Watson is decidedly ill at ease.
Holmes, I don't know why you insisted on coming here.
To present our condolences, of course. After all, we were in at the death, as you might say.
Holmes, really?
And to find out more about this new drug. What's it called? Oh, yes, insulin.
Yes, I might have known it was your insatiable thirst for information that brought you, not your humane instincts. Of all the cold-blooded...
Shh, quiet, Watson. Someone's coming.
Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson?
Quite.
The doctor will see you now. Step this way, please.
Oh, thank you. After you, Holmes. This was your idea.
Well, well, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. This is indeed an honor. I'm indeed grateful for your efforts on my poor sister's behalf.
My colleague, Dr. Watson, was the physician on the case, Dr. Weatherby.
That is, everything possible was done, you understand. I can't begin to express my regrets.
Oh, please don't blame yourself, Doctor. I couldn't have done more for her myself, I'm sure. An overdose of strychnine is so violent and so sudden, don't you know?
Then the autopsy showed strychnine.
There was no autopsy necessary, Mr. Holmes. The contents of the teacup proved the case. And then, of course, when my brother confessed...
Confessed?
Yes. It seems he had one of his dizzy spells while my sister was drinking her tea and lay down in the boat for a moment. He must have been unconscious for several moments. At least he doesn't seem to remember what happened during that length of time.
Of course, a trance. Somnambulistic. He must have administered the poison while in a semi-conscious condition.
Yes, poor Walter. I've always known he subconsciously resented both his sisters. They were so big and robust. Walter was always rather frail. I suppose I should have had him committed after Nellie's death, but, well, somehow I couldn't persuade myself that he was really dangerous.
I see. Would it shock you very much, Dr. Weatherby, if I were to assure you that your brother did not kill either of his sisters?
But, Mr. Holmes, the evidence. The death struggle indicated strychnine. Now, strychnine was found in the teacup. He was the only person with her all afternoon. And then his confession. You can't get around that.
I imagine your brother Walter takes rather easily to any form of suggestion, Dr. Weatherby. With your permission, I should like to have a talk with him. He's in Bow Street Jail, I understand.
That's correct, Mr. Holmes. But I'm afraid you must postpone your interview until later in the day, when he's had time to recover from his insulin injection.
He's already had it?
No. As a matter of fact, I was just about to go around to the jail and give it to him.
Splendid. We'll go with you. Dr. Watson is particularly anxious to learn this new technique of administering insulin.
Oh, Holmes, really not.
Some other time I shall be delighted.
What better time than the present? We promise not to discuss your sister's murder, Dr. Weatherby.
But I understand. Well, that is, Scotland Yard is in charge of the case. Would they permit interference?
Scotland Yard has learned it's always wise to allow me to interfere, Dr. Weatherby. It so frequently saves them from making fools of themselves.
This way, gentlemen, please. He's in here. Wait a moment till I unlock his cell. Step inside, please, gentlemen.
Thank you. Well, Walter, we've come to see you. You remember us, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson?
Oh, Robert, I didn't think you'd ever want to speak to me again. And these kind gentlemen, Robert, they did all that they could, Robert. Oh, it was too horrible the way she died.
Easy, old chap, easy.
Oh, but how could I? Oh, my mind is all blurry. Everything is all confused.
Yes, that's because you haven't had your insulin.
That's right, Walter. Now, you just wait till I fix the hypodermic. You'll feel better in no time after your injection. Just sit down, Walter. Roll up your sleeve.
Well, quite a little party we're having here this morning. They told me you'd crashed in again, Holmes.
Morning, Lestrade.
Well, if it's against the regulations, Inspector Lestrade, I mean, it was his idea, not mine. He assured me...
Quite all right, Dr. Weatherby. Scotland Yard grumbles a good deal about Sherlock Holmes's interference, but we found out it's sometimes a good idea to let him rave.
Many thanks, Lestrade. As a matter of fact, you came just in time. We are about to witness a very interesting demonstration.
Oh, an injection of insulin isn't as drastic as all that, Mr. Holmes. In a few years, thousands of people will be getting insulin daily, injecting it themselves, in all probability. Now, hold out your arm, Walter.
Then it's really quite harmless. I mean, even to a person not suffering from diabetes.
Oh, yes. It might accelerate the rate of metabolism slightly for a time, but nothing to worry about.
Then Nellie's death and Minnie's death couldn't possibly have been caused by the injection you gave each of them the morning of the day in which they died.
Good Lord, no. What a fantastic idea.
Not so fantastic, Dr. Weatherby. I'm quite convinced that neither Minnie nor your brother here suffer from diabetes. Your sister Nellie I didn't see, unfortunately.
My dear Mr. Holmes, without a blood test, how can you possibly tell?
I had the eye of the trained diagnostician, Dr. Weatherby. The tone of the skin was too healthy, particularly in Minnie's case. No. I suggest you were giving your brother and sister injections for a much more sinister reason, Doctor.
But that's preposterous. Even if they proved not to be diabetic, insulin injections wouldn't harm them.
I grant you all but the final injections were harmless, Doctor.
Nonsense. My sister certainly didn't die from any injections I gave them. Death in both cases was later, much later.
You're positive those injections were harmless?
Positive.
You wouldn't care to prove it by giving yourself the injection you've just prepared for your brother.
Why, that is, if I do, I won't be able to give him his dose. I only have one with me. As you can see, Walter is near collapse. I won't be responsible if he doesn't get his insulin.
I prepared for that emergency. Dr. Watson has brought along a small amount of the drug. I'm sure it'll suffice.
Well, but this is really too ridiculous.
Well, now, I'm not so sure. You say it won't hurt you to take that insulin. Go ahead and take it.
Why, I know it sounds silly, but I've never had the nerve to give myself an injection.
Oh, I'll be happy to oblige.
No, Watson, let me. I'm quite good at it. And I don't want any accidents with the contents of that hypodermic. Now then, give it to me. Give it to me, I say.
No, you can't make me. You can't!
Stand back. Don't anyone touch that broken hypodermic or the fluid it contained.
Good Lord. Why not?
Unless I'm very much mistaken. It's a particularly deadly culture of tetanus bacteria. I'll just take a sample. Carefully. Between these glass slides. Now, Lestrade, if you'll tell the guard to bring the strongest carbolic acid he can find, I'd say we'll have this case just about washed up.
nice fellow that Robert Weatherby turned out to be, eh, Dr. Watson? But look, why the strychnine in the first sister's cough medicine and the second sister's teacup?
Because the symptoms of tetanus poisoning and strychnine poisoning are so remarkably similar. Tetanus takes much longer, of course, to develop. Robert could be sure of being at a safe distance when the death occurred.
Diabolical, I'd say.
Yes. Holmes suspected tetanus when he heard of Minnie's stiff neck and noticed the contraction of the solar plexus. Those symptoms do not occur in strychnine poisoning. Of course, I should have noticed them too, but what with the presence of strychnine in the cup, it's so easy to jump to the wrong conclusions, which is what Robert Weatherby had counted on.
But again, why did Dr. Weatherby plant the strychnine?
To implicate his brother, who was known to have a quantity in his possession.
Nothing like killing off the whole family in one fell swoop.
Yes, and he would probably have gotten away with it if Sherlock Holmes hadn't happened along. But now, isn't it about time for that suggestion about next week's story?
It certainly is, Dr. Watson.
Well, next week now, let me think. Suppose I tell you about a visit Holmes and I paid to Castle Mortlake, and how I was splattered with blood from a famous silver chandelier that was supposed to bleed whenever a catastrophe occurred in the family. It wasn't ordinary blood, however. Yes, that was an adventure in which Holmes' knowledge of bee culture came in very handy.
The makers of Clippercraft clothes and 1,036 leading stores from coast to coast have brought you another in the new series of broadcasts featuring the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. Our stories are based upon the character Sherlock Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes is played by John Stanley, Dr. Watson by Alfred Shirley, and the dramatizations are by Edith Meiser. Sherlock Holmes is produced and directed by Basil Lockram. Special music by Albert Berman. If you don't know your Clippercraft dealer, write Clippercraft, 200 Fifth Avenue, New York City. Be sure to listen next week to Sherlock Holmes in The Case of the Bleeding Chandelier. This is Cy Harris speaking for Clippercraft Clothes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. I don't think I'd like eel pie. I did, I did appreciate that the episode didn't go with the first, obvious solution. That was what Scotland Yard, went with. And, a much more decent, strategy of murder. But, after, T, didn't seem to be the answer, I think that the insulin injections definitely did. Of course, insulin is so widespread, it's interesting at all to hear it talked about as this kind of oddity. All right. Well, we do have a listener comment. This one comes from Christine, who writes us from Jamaica. I've just been listening to the case of the accommodating valise, and I think this is the straw that broke my back. Honestly, I can't understand why they had to portray Watson as a total idiot. Wanted to use a stronger word, but I'm restraining myself. It was so obvious when the grandmother went into the bathroom. It was her coming back out as the cleaning lady or whatever she was, and Watson stood there, erming and ahming. Oh, seriously? I can't understand why Holmes would be so short-tempered with Watson in this particular run of the series. I mean, how many years had Watson supposedly been hanging out with Holmes, and he's still clueless as he was at the beginning? Really? If he was that dim-witted, it's no wonder he kept hanging out with Holmes, because he sure couldn't make any money as a credible doctor. The writers of the new series of Sherlock Holmes should have tried reading some of the actual Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes stories rather than just writing the adaptations. They clearly didn't get the essence of the Holmes character, the Watson character, or the relationship between the two. Although they've just about ruined this particular Holmes series for me, I'll keep listening to it because I'm just that addicted to your podcast. You rock. Well, thanks so much, Christine. I appreciate you listening over there in Jamaica. And I appreciate some of the frustration. This is not my favorite version of Sherlock Holmes, and I think that we've had better, and we may see a little bit better as time goes on. Though this particular pairing, there's going to be a few changes actually coming up in about 3 weeks. There are only 2 episodes left in this current season, and there will be some changes in writing, a new actor playing Dr. Watson in the next season. So maybe it'll make some positive difference. Some people think so, others not so much, but we'll see. And there's definitely, at least, I think, some value in some of the stories, which is why we opted to do these particular series. All right, well, that will do it for today. Join us tomorrow for yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Next Tuesday, we will be here with the episode of Crime on the Waterfront, and then back here on Thursday for another episode of Sherlock Holmes. Today's episode is brought to you by the financial support of our listeners. Thank you so much for all of your support. I want to go ahead and we'll get into today's episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This one is called The Voodoo Matter.
Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment John Lund as
Johnny Dollar.
Nelson Price, Johnny.
Oh, yes. How are you, Mr. Price?
Fine. Got a job for you. You'll have to go to the West Indies.
The West Indies?
Near Haiti, St. Ledger. Mr. Claude Sheldon holds a big policy with us. We insure him, his wife, and his farm. We've had a lot of trouble. It's going to cost us a lot of money, and we think an investigation is necessary. Come on down to the office, and I'll give you as much as I've got, Johnny.
The makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you John Lund in another adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
For refreshing taste plus chewing enjoyment, treat yourself to delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. When your mouth and throat feel hot and dry, a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint gives you quick, long-lasting refreshment. The lively, full-bodied spearmint flavor cools your mouth and freshens your taste. The chewing itself helps keep your throat pleasantly moist. Best of all, you can chew and enjoy refreshing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum almost any time and any place. Keep a package handy right in your purse or pocket so you can chew a stick whenever you want it. For refreshing taste plus chewing enjoyment, treat yourself to delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Millions enjoy it, and you will too.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office International Insurance and Bonding Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Voodoo matter. Expense account item 1, $206.40, plane fare and incidentals from New York to Port-au-Prince, Haiti. After receiving from you the necessary information concerning the insured, Claude Sheldon. After landing, I checked into the hotel and waited for Claude Sheldon as prearranged. I waited for about an hour. Come in.
Dollar?
That's right. Mr. Sheldon?
Yes.
I've been expecting you. Claude Sheldon pushed himself away from the door, grabbed a chair, and dropped into it. Took in long, deep breaths and smiled a very slow, weak smile.
I would have been here sooner, but there's been more trouble.
More trouble, eh? Well, my company told me a little about it, but you better give me your own story.
Certainly. As you know, I am a farmer.
Yeah.
My place is near Saint-Léger. A number of other farms in the vicinity, all doing very well until several months ago. First it was fired. The cane field was burned. One by one, the cattle became sick. Then some of the farmers grew ill and died.
Can I get you something?
Some water, please.
Have you been to see a doctor?
I'm afraid a doctor can't help.
There you are.
Thank you.
Have you any idea what's wrong with you?
Yes and no. My Christian religion cites it, but my life on Haiti has taught me deep respect for it.
Respect for what, Mr. Sheldon?
Voodoo, Mr. Dollar. Oh, I know just what you're thinking. But a doctor in Haiti has examined me and my wife and the others. He can find nothing wrong.
Voodoo, Mr. Sheldon?
I don't expect you to understand. It's hard for me. Perhaps there is something else. I hope you can find out.
Well, I'm afraid I can't buy the voodoo theory, Mr. Sheldon.
There's one thing. Immediately after my wife and I became ill, I received an offer from my farm. A very low offer from a Saint banker. I investigated and found it had been made in the interests of one Arthur Cotswold.
Arthur Cotswold.
Haiti's biggest planter. Extremely wealthy.
Even after the sick cattle and the fires and everything?
Yes. That's why I became suspicious. The other farmers received similar offers.
More water?
Perhaps I don't think I... Mr. Dollar.
Mr. Sheldon. I called the hotel desk for a doctor, but by the time he'd gotten Sheldon to the hospital, the patient was dead. The authorities were called in, and I was questioned. A preliminary examination was made on the dead man, but the cause of death remained a mystery. So an autopsy was ordered. I told the chief of police to forward the report to me at Saint Leger and left for the Sheldon farm. Expense account item 2, $5 American for a beaten-up taxi to take me 10 miles into the country. A crowd of natives was standing in front of the Sheldon house as we drove up. I didn't know what it was. No one said a word. But something was wrong. I could feel it. I walked through the crowd and up to the house and stopped cold as the door opened.
Who are you?
I'd never seen anything like him. A native who was a good 7 feet tall and must have weighed at least 300.
Me, Bimba. Who are you?
Me, I'm Johnny Dollar. I'm an insurance investigator.
You from United States?
Yeah. I'm supposed to investigate the trouble here.
Me know. Master Sheldon tell me.
I saw Master Sheldon about an hour ago.
He dead.
How do you know he died?
You come in house.
All right. What are all those people doing out there?
Their friend. Madame, she died too.
Bimba led the way into the bedroom, where Mrs. Sheldon lay on the bed, covered with a fresh white sheet, her eyes closed in death, her face drawn and tired. Bimba told me that she died about an hour before, and a cold chill ran up my back. I remembered her husband lying on the floor of my hotel room about an hour before.
Bad voodoo.
Is that why the cattle are sick and the fields burned?
We, bad voodoo.
Mr. Sheldon thought a man named Cotswold might have something to do with it.
Mr. Cotswold, big man. Very powerful.
What are those drums?
For Madame and Master. Voodoo. Good voodoo. Give blessing for spirits. For Madame and Master.
I see. I want to talk to the police in Saint Leger. Who do I see?
Me take you.
Right then, I inherited Bimba. And if there was going to be any trouble, the giant servant would certainly help to make up for any lack on my part. The first thing I wanted to do was to contact the authorities in Saint Leger. And Bimba told me my man was Inspector Georges. Bimba saddled up 2 horses from the barn, and together we rode back to Saint Leger. Bimba pointed out the inspector's office and waited in front while I went in.
Oui, Monsieur Dollar. The Sheldons were a very fine family. I knew them very well.
How did everybody know they were dead?
On Haiti, things of such nature are never a secret. The natives know. Voodoo? Being a stranger to Haiti, Monsieur Dollar, I expect you to be a skeptic.
But you're not?
Let us say I've been in Haiti too long to be one, huh?
Oh. You know a man named Cotswold?
I would suggest you forget Monsieur Cotswold.
Why?
Monsieur Cotswold is a very prominent man.
Yeah, so I've heard.
He has the largest plantation owner in the West Indies, a self-made man with a considerable temper.
I'll mention it in my report to my office.
Eh bien, as you wish. But Monsieur Cotswold is looked upon by the people of Saint-Léger with a great deal of respect. It is my opinion that you should avoid him. First, because I am certain he will not be in sympathy with your motives, and second, because the opposition you will encounter will be far-reaching and much too difficult for you to handle.
What if I come up with something incriminating?
Oh, for your sake, I hope you do not.
Oh. What do you do here in Saint-Léger, Inspector?
I am the law, Monsieur Dollar.
But you wouldn't like it if this Cotswold were guilty of breaching that law?
If Monsieur Cotswold has broken the law, it would certainly be my duty to arrest him. But I am not considering the arrest, nor necessary steps that would have to be taken to prove the guilt. Dangerous steps, Monsieur Dollar. One might trip on those steps.
And break his neck.
For 10 years I have been the law. If tomorrow Cotswold decided it was time for me to relinquish my position, I should probably retire.
So you prefer the middle of the road, huh?
It is much easier to see what is ahead.
You can always get run down from behind.
I do as much as I can to prevent that possibility. No, again, my suggestion that you forget Monsieur Cotswold.
I left the philosophical inspector and went back to Bimba, still sitting outside on his horse. Every time I looked at him, it was like a little kid spotting the Empire State Building for the first time. He smiled a mouthful of white teeth and leaned over to give me a hand up. He caught me by the wrist and lifted me into my saddle as though he was hoisting a small bundle of laundry.
The inspector. He say forget Mr. Cotswold.
What? Bimba.
Oui, monsieur.
Oh, forget it. What do you think I should do?
Me think you do what you want.
And you know what I want.
Oui. You want to go see Mr. Cotswold.
The inspector says I shouldn't.
You go anyway.
You think it's a mistake?
If you're afraid, but you're not. You're not strong like Bimba, but you could fight it.
I don't like to fight, Bimba.
Bimba know that. We go see Mr. Cotswold.
We swung our horses around, and Bimba led the way up a long, narrow road, surrounded on both sides by sugarcane fields. Somewhere, from not too far away, I heard the drums start again. Bimba straightened in his saddle and looked off to the north. He began moving his shoulders, slowly keeping time to the steady rhythm of the drums. Then he began to sing softly. What does that mean, Bimba?
It means in your language, it is our Papa who passes.
Papa?
Papa Damballa, the great sport.
Voodoo.
Oui. I later must leave you. Today, Wednesday, is the day of Papa Damballa.
He turned back to the north and continued his little chant until we reached the beginning of a long, high fence running along next to the narrow road. Bimba leaned down and swung open a big gate. Then we rode up the path that led through the Cotswold property until we reached the house. Sitting back between two huge trees was the Cotswold mansion. Bimba stayed on his horse, and I climbed down and walked to the front door.
Mr. Dollar, watch out for Mr. Jocelyn. He guards Mr. Cotswold.
Thanks. What do you want? I'd like to see Mr. Cotswold.
You do, huh? What are you doing here, Bimber?
I wait for Monsieur.
Found himself a new governor, huh? You must be that dollar fella.
I must be.
Well, come in. Mr. Cotswold's been expecting you.
Jocelyn wasn't a very small man himself. Looked as though he was capable of handling just about any situation that might come up. He led the way into a large paneled study, and I met Arthur Cotswold. The drums had stopped.
I know why you're here, Mr. Dollar.
Well, then that should make it a lot easier for both of us.
For some reason, the farmers are suspicious. Their fear is divided between me and Voodoo. Sheldon convinced some that I might be responsible.
And of course you're not.
Of course.
Sheldon thought you might want to get control of the other farms in San Jose.
I simply tried to help them. With their cattle sick and their crops gone, I had my banker make them an offer.
What would you want with sick cattle?
I could use the land.
Do you think the cattle will get better and the crops won't fail if you control the land?
I intend to do away with the sick cattle. I have no use for the crops.
Have any of your cattle been affected?
None.
That's pretty strange.
Haiti is a strange land. And on this point, I would most certainly give you advice. Go home, Mr. Dollar. Leave well enough alone.
Well enough is pretty bad, the way I see it, Mr. Cotswold. And I'll leave after I've gotten a few answers.
Mr. Dollar, I am not a patient man. I've gone out of my way to give you some healthy advice. Heed it, for your sake.
I won't forget it for a minute.
You persist in this investigation?
I get paid to persist, Mr. Cotswold.
Friends, you know Wrigley's Spearmint Gum is a delicious treat that millions enjoy all year round. It's good to chew almost any time and any place. In warm weather, you'll enjoy especially the refreshment that Wrigley's Spearmint Gum gives you. When your mouth feels hot and dry, or when you're feeling warm and tired, chewing Wrigley's Spearmint gives you a pleasant little lift. It cools your mouth, moistens your throat, and refreshes your taste. Besides, chewing on a good, smooth piece of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum seems to add enjoyment to whatever else you're doing. So enjoy it at home, at work, wherever you are. And remember, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum is a swell treat to take along on picnics. Get plenty for everybody. That's Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious. And now, with our star, John Lund, we bring you the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
I left Arthur Cotswold, picked up Bimber, and he led me back to town. On the way, I got an idea. When we arrived in town, I sent Bimber back to the Sheldon farm. Then I went in to talk to Inspector George. The inspector had received a wire from the authorities in Port-au-Prince concerning the autopsy on Sheldon.
I had no idea the authorities in Port-au-Prince were interested in this affair.
Oh. May I see that?
Company certainly.
Well, here's something pretty interesting, Inspector. Mr. Sheldon died of a disease known as brucellosis, commonly known in cattle as Bang's disease.
I read the account.
Ever heard of brucellosis, Inspector?
I'm not a medical man, Mr. Dollar.
Unguent fever. Sheldon and his wife probably caught it from their sick cattle.
But, yeah, then you have solved the mystery.
No, not quite. I want to find out why all the cattle belonging to the small farmers got sick and not the ones belonging to Miss Cotswold.
What do you intend to do?
I think those cattle were infected and the cane fields burned deliberately. If the cattle were infected, there might be some of the brucellosis still around, and I'm going to find it. And I think you'd better issue a search warrant and come with me.
No, Monsieur Dollar. The middle of the road, remember?
I think you'd better start modifying your policy, Inspector. Unless you want me to get in touch with Port-au-Prince and asked that you be held as a material witness in a murder case.
I will issue the warrant.
I kind of thought you would.
I will issue it, but you certainly don't think it will be able enough to get you into that house.
No, but it'll make it legal. I sent Bimba back to collect some of his friends. They're going to help us get into that house, Inspector.
Oh, I will take no part in violence.
They will even be with us. It'll be easy to search the Cotswold if Cotswold was out fighting a fire.
A fire?
Oh, just a harvest fire. But far enough away so that Cotswold will think it's his cane field.
Ah. Well, I don't agree with such methods, Monsieur Dollar, but as long as it's a harmless fire, I will issue the warrant.
Well, welcome back to the gutter, Inspector. The view isn't much, but you can't miss where you're going. When we reached the Sheldon farm, we saw a crowd of natives standing out in front. Again, something was wrong. We piled out, pushed our way through the crowd, and inside the house we found what it was. Lying in the middle of the room was Bimba. He was almost dead when I knelt beside him.
I talked to friends. They light fire for you.
Thanks.
Now I go to Baron Samter. Sambalo way to take me.
Just in step? Yeah. Got him from behind. Never would have faced him.
You say you see Wikilena your mort.
See what?
It's a ritual. It means taking the spirit from the head of your dead. He wants you to see it.
You say you believe voodoo.
All right, Bimba. I'll say it.
You see. Believe.
Bimba.
No. You said.
The next few hours I'll never forget. The natives came into the house and placed Bimba on a bench. Then the ceremony began. They carried live pigeons, olive oil, 30 pieces of fat pine wood, a pair of chickens, and some coarse cornmeal. They covered Bimba's body with a saddle blanket, killed the chickens, roasted the cornmeal, and put it in a large white plate. The pine wood slivers were lighted and held like candles. Then a man they called Donet took the white plate in one hand and the pot with the chicken in the other and approached the fire, chanting a strange dirge. Then as Donet finished the last line of the chant, the body of Bimba sat straight up with straining eyes, bowed its head, and fell back. The inspector and I drove over to Cotswold's house and waited while the moon climbed up over the clouds and the drums in the distance tangled my nerves into knots. After an hour of waiting, a dull glow to the south started the expected commotion in the Cotswold household, and we climbed out of the car.
Oh, Mr. Cotswold! The time is for you! Get the servants! Get the servants! Get everyone out there to fight that fire! Hey!
It will. Yeah. Give them a few minutes and we'll go into the house. Now. The inspector and I took the Cotswold house apart like a well-trained wrecking crew and came up with exactly nothing.
Well, Monsieur Dollar.
Isn't there a barn out back?
Oui.
Then let's go. The drums were louder now, and the dull glow of the fire had nearly vanished. The inspector took one end of the barn, and I took the other. We worked toward each other. And just about the time I was ready to give the whole thing up.
Monsieur Dollar.
You find something? Huh. A hypodermic for cattle. That's not enough.
And this? I found it on the bed box.
A bottle. Might not be anything.
But we could take it back to town and have it analyzed.
Well, that's about all we can do. This is the only thing we've got. Let's go.
I'm afraid not. Stand right where you are.
Hello, Mr. Cotswold. You know the inspector, don't you?
for a number of years. I must say I didn't expect this of him.
I have a search warrant, Monsieur Cotswold.
How very interesting. See if they have any weapons, Johnson.
Right. I assure you we are well within our rights. This warrant is...
Shut up and raise your hand.
Better do as he says.
A commendable suggestion, Mr. Dollar. But I'm afraid you've learned prudence a little too late.
I never argue with a gun.
They've both got guns, Mr. Cotswold.
You're making a serious mistake.
I'm afraid the mistake is yours and Mr. Dollar's, Inspector. Get the bottle and the hypodermic.
Yes, sir. Is that the stuff you've been inspecting the cattle with?
It is. You see, you really should have taken my advice and returned to the States. And I'm surprised at you, Inspector. I really thought you were more sensible.
Sometimes a man finds his pride and does the best thing.
And this is the best thing.
Right, it sounds foolish. But I think it is.
You know, of course, that I cannot allow either of you to live.
Tell me something. Who killed Bimber?
I think Jocelyn can answer that. But enough conversation. I'll leave the details in your hands.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
All right, start walking. Jocelyn, you won't... Shut up. Now do what I tell you and start walking. The drums have stopped.
Just keep moving right out the gate.
What about the drums? What does it mean? I don't know.
Mr. Cotswold! Oh, I tell you, stop running for that house. Go on.
We ran into the house with Jocelyn right behind us. He ordered us to go ahead of him and into the dark study. And that's where we found Cotswold, stretched out on the floor, his dead eyes staring up at us, his mouth open in a soundless scream. His neck had been broken.
Yes. Who's here?
Monsieur Dollar.
Who is it? Who's in this room? No! No! Get away from me! You're dead!
You won't believe it, and to this day I'm still not sure. But there in the darkness was a huge man. And he looked exactly like Bimba. Jocelyn shot him 6 times, and he kept right on coming. Then he grabbed Jocelyn and crushed him like an eggshell. By the time we'd collected our wits, the giant had disappeared through the door and into the night. Monsieur Dollar, I think I'll sit down. Was it Bimba? I don't know. I don't want to know anything. I just want to get on the first plane back to the States and relax for a week in a tub of hot mud. Well, there it is. It certainly looked like Bimba. If you're inclined to believe in voodoo, perhaps it was. I talked to some of the natives before I left, and it didn't seem unusual to them. Cotswold was a bad man, and Bimba had come back from the dead to avenge his people. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling it to you just the way I saw it. Or am I? Well, anyway, it's the inspector's problem. Expense account items 3 and 4, $250. Hotel bill, plane fare, and incidentals back to Hartford. Expense account total, $461.40. If you want any more information, you can contact me at the Greenbrier Rest Home. I'll be the third mud pie from the left. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Remember, friends, for refreshing taste plus chewing enjoyment, treat yourself to delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. The taste of fresh spearmint is cooling and delightful, and there's lots of it in every stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. It freshens your mouth, helps keep your throat moist, and sweetens your breath besides. You'll enjoy the good chewing, too, because Wrigley's Spearmint is so smooth and pleasant to chew on. There's nothing else quite like it. Next time you're at the store, stop at your friendly merchant's display of chewing gum and get a few packages of good-tasting Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. always keep some handy for refreshing taste plus chewing enjoyment. That's Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, brought to you by Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, stars John Lund in the title role and was written by Blake Edwards with music by Eddie Dunstetter. Featured in today's cast were Tudor Owen, Parley Bear, Roy Glenn, Ben Wright, Bill Conrad, and Chester Hairston. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is produced and directed by Jaime Del Valle. The makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum hope you enjoyed tonight's story of Johnny Dollar and that you're enjoying delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum every day. This is Charles Lyon, inviting you to join us again next week at this same time when, from Hollywood, John Lund returns as yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is the CBS Radio Network.
Welcome back. Well, if Blake Edwards' name appears on a Johnny Dollar script, then you know that it was basically a recycled Richard Diamond script, pretty much. This one was based on an episode of Richard Diamond, a private detective called Little Shiva, from March the 23rd of 1951. You know, I do have to say that, you know, it's almost too predictable when you have a situation where Haiti is mentioned in an old-time radio. You know that by the end of the episode, you're going to hear Voodoo in the story. And, you know, I don't know if it's all that different today. I think that probably doesn't help tourism much. But overall, a somewhat bizarre ending, not really fitting too much into the typical detective story with a suggestively supernatural type ending. But hopefully we'll be back next week with hopefully a more normal episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. I do want to encourage you to check email me box13@greatdetectives.net. For those of you who have the premium site, we do have an extra show that we've gone ahead and added to the list of the shows we're going to do. Meet Miss Sherlock, and so an unhosted extra is posted there. You can follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and give us a call, 208-991-4783. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho.